another great night to be a Terp here in College Park as we bring you all yet another Terps Esports broadcast. My name is Ives, aka I've Seen Ya.
And my name is Kevin, and it is great night indeed for some Terps Premier League of Legends action tonight.
That's right, Kevin. We've got a lot to cover in our pre-show, including a quick review of how the game works, as well as an interview with our team's jungler, Pika.
But before we get into the action, let's go over the typical rules of your League of Legends tournament match. If you've never played the game before, League is a multiplayer online battle arena, also known as a MOBA. 5 players on each team battle it out on Summoner's Rift. There's monsters in the jungle, minions in the lanes, and turrets to be destroyed. Victory is achieved upon destroying the opposing team's nexus.
For this league match, the Terps are competing in a best-of-3 regular season match against Brock Esports. Currently, our Terps are undefeated in their season, coming into this match at 2-0 against Brock's 1-1.
So now that you know who we're facing and what's at stake, it's time for us to introduce you to the players of the Terps League of Legends team.
In the top lane, we have Bread, a fitting name for a top laner with the power to split push lanes and constantly farm, netting him copious amounts of gold, or bread, as the kids say.
And in the mid lane, we have Neko Nanchan, the magic mid laner with explosive power to put his enemies on the back foot.
In support, we have Yet Mike, a rock for the players of Terps Esports tonight. He will do his best to provide assistance and lift up our players' spirits in the most dire of situations.
Lyrax, or better pronounced as Lyric, a popular ADC. He's a PhD student in electrical engineering, and he's ready to dominate the bot lane.
And in jungle, we have Pika, a Summoner's Rift terror, creeping in the shadows, revealing himself when you least expect it. Assisting lanes and taking names, he is not a force to be reckoned with.
And speaking of Lyric, here he is for a quick pre-match interview.
Welcome.
Hello.
Pika, any strong emotions coming into this game tonight?
Just a little bit nervous, but not really. I'm good.
Yeah, this is good to hear, you know. I have a exciting question for you. If you could remove one champion from the game, who would it be, and why would it be Mel?
You know, I always already think of Mel when I heard that question. So, why would it be Mel? I guess it's just like kind of stupid. Like execute, just built into her kit already. So yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And she can reflect abilities, and that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to want to remove her. You're playing Brock Esports tonight. On the topic of Brock, famed companion to Ash Ketchum, who is your favorite Pokemon and why, besides Pikachu, of course?
I would say my favorite Pokemon besides Pikachu would be Superior, because that was the first game I played in Pokemon Black and White, and the starter I chose was Snivy, so the evolved form of Superior was my favorite.
Yeah, that's great. You know, personal favorite of mine too. And that concludes our pre-show for this League of Legends match. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Walk game, or will Red turn things around?
Terp Adventures. Take flight at Stamp. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body. Feed your mind. Feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform. Find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Well, welcome back for another week of League of Legends with Terps premiere this week. How are you feeling, Ive?
Pretty good. Our premier team had an incredible performance when they were in the studio 2 weeks ago, and I would love to see that again. They won 2-0 in the series. They're 2-0 for the season, and looking to make that 3-0. 2-1, 2-0. Who's to say?
Hopefully, we're looking for a dominance performance from our Terps. Hopefully leading that 3-0, as you said. But looking at it, I've seen that Terps faced off against JMU, and Brock Esports has also faced off against JMU before, both taking the win against JMU. So we got to see who's more dominant in this matchup, as they have never faced off before this season with new academy players on Terps. We got to see how they will adapt longer into the season. Will they get better? Will they lose stamina throughout the season? We got to see if they can keep the pace up.
Yeah, definitely. I like to think of the Terps as a very well-rounded team, but if it turns out they play a lot of games, people get used to the tricks that they have, and it kind of falls apart. That'll be disappointing to see, but I don't like to think of them that way.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the draft, especially with Terps. You got to see some creativity coming out, but I wonder if there's any signature picks that are going to come out from Terps. If Brock Esports have anything in mind for Terps, if they have a special counter pick they want to lead with. We really just got to see how they want to lead this first game and how they really want to take action. Are they going to try and do a front-to-back composition, high mobility perhaps? Are they going to slow down the pace of the game, keep it quick?
Getting word that we're heading into this draft soon. I know 2 weeks ago in the draft, what we saw from the other team was basically an instant pick to kind of single out our top laner Bread and to try and take away some of those unusual picks that he likes to play with.
Yeah, Now coming out, we see a Gragas ban from Terps and a Victor ban from Brock Esports. We see a Jarvan ban from Terps now. It seems like Terps is focusing on the top side, top jungle, and perhaps Brock is focusing on mid lane and jungle with a Trundle ban coming out right now.
Yeah, definitely. I know Trundle's a menace a lot, especially in low elo plays. You know, not as much, maybe a bit easier to handle in, you know, such high skill matches, such as our Terps Esports Premier matches. But he's what a lot of people refer to as a stat checker, which is just if you're not built right, if he has some gold advantage against you, it's just you're just going to get like essentially run down and auto attacked into oblivion.
Yeah, we're seeing another jungle pick being hovered from Brock Esports, a Wukong Trundle going out of the bans. So definitely focusing on Terps jungle right now. There's a Nautilus ban from Terps. They have a wide diversity of bans. Gragas in the top lane, Jarvan 4 in the jungle, and Nautilus in the support. They're looking to cancel maybe some of those tankier options from Brock Esports.
Yeah, definitely, which kind of leads you to think that they're going to be doing something a bit more squishy. Like maybe they'll see, you know, so we're seeing that Orianna pick come out. Definitely not a tank. I mean, that's just your mid laner.
Yeah.
But maybe for support, we might see an Enchanter, you know, kind of doesn't have a lot of presence in the early game, but, you know, you get that late game like heal and shield, which is why you see that Nautilus ban to try and keep that engage away from you.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Terps are going to go for a high mobility comp, as I was speaking about. You know, in pro play, the Nocturne Orianna combo is very popular. They dive in with the Nocturne, and with Orianna all attached, they just get a nice combo going in there.
Unusual pick out of Brock Esports.
We have a Nun N/A pick from Brock Esports. Interesting. Definitely.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking they can take a 4v5 against Terps, or probably just a mistake. I'm sure they're clearing that up in their chats right now.
And we have a Morgana pick coming out, as we saw last week with Terps Academy. This Morgana can usually be flexed into the mid lane or support. In last week's game, it was put in the support role. It had dominating control of the bot lane, getting push ahead. So we'll see if Brox wants to opt for that bot lane control, perhaps. Jinx picks coming out from Terps. Hyper carry Jinx recently got buffed in the recent patch, so we're looking forward to maybe a hyper carry game from Jinx.
We are getting word that the Nun pick from Brock Esports is Lucian. So we might see a Lucian Morgana bot lane here in this game.
Definitely an interesting team comp for the bot lane right now, because Lucian Morgana you wouldn't typically pick together. Lucian you typically would pair with a enchanter, stronger enchanter like Lulu, Nami, or maybe a Braum instead to tank. We see a Xin Zhao and potentially a Mumu coming out from Brock Esports. Amumu's been buffed recently. Maybe he's just slowly creeping into the meta. It's picked now into the Xin Zhao. I don't quite know how that matchup works. Amumu has a very strong AoE ultimate, but Xin Zhao is more of that like midfield player, being able to zone out the tanks and let damage carries like take over for Terps.
Yeah, definitely. I think Amumu commonly built as a tank jungle. He has a lot of CC, which is, you know, incredibly useful. And if you just build tank, you're essentially just taking hits for your team. I think what we're going to see there is just Amumu come into a lane, try and like throw out a bandage, which, you know, will stun someone for a little bit, possibly use his ultimate, and then try and, you know, get it so that maybe the laner can clean up there.
Yeah, right now we see a Urgot ban from Brock Esports. trying to limit the top lane even more for Terps. Like you said, the Mumu ban definitely is very gank heavy, trying to affect all of the lanes very heavily, maybe early game, just trying to get his laners ahead. We see a Graves ban, which is interesting because maybe that suggests that Amumu might not be going to jungle. Maybe Amumu's support has been more popular recently, so Terps coach perhaps is predicting this Amumu is going bot with the Lucian, and then Morgana's going mid. Olaf ban coming out from Brock Esports.
Amumu support?
Amumu support is a very interesting pick. I would have to say it's definitely better than Rammus support, but the CC, the ability to zone with that crying, and just the strong pressure, it's like any other hook champion. It's able to replace perhaps that Nodus role that Terps banned out. It's a very fast hook, like almost as fast as Blitzcrank, and we see a Mbessa pick coming out from Brock Esports. So it's really just a jungler or a mid laner left here for Brock Esports. They have two flex picks in Morgana and Amumu, both AP right now. So we want to see what they want to pick into this. Terps have the final two picks right now before Brock's last pick. They're looking for their support and their top laner. Are they gonna? It seems like they're going the Volibear into Mbessa in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm not quite familiar with the Volibear and Mbessa matchup. I know Volibear is pretty useful for a split push or for a tower dive. His ultimate will disable towers for a few seconds. I think it's about like 3. It's, incredibly useful for just trying to take objectives.
Yeah, Volibear is just known to be a very strong side lane champion, like being able to position himself in the side lane and just like keep pushing tower, exerting pressure. So I don't quite know how the Mbessa matchup works also. I think it's more of a skill-based matchup I've seen in the European leagues with Baus from Los Rotones. He plays the Volibear into Mbessa a lot when his signature champions like Sion might have been picked out already or banned. And we see a Tom Kench in the bot lane. We have a Tom Kench Jinx for Terps. And we see Milio coming out from Brock Esports. Milio most likely gonna go with Lucian. As we said, a strong enchanter is typically paired with Lucian. So we have Morgana in the mid lane, most likely Amumu in the jungle, and Milio in the bot lane. Their flex picks, I wonder how much that has affected Terps' drafting abilities. Did that confuse them, or did they stay on their game plan and this is the draft they wanted?
Yeah, I think it was very confusing for them because it was very confusing for us. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt to that.
Yeah, certainly. And we're going to be transitioning into the game in just a moment.
And before we hop into this match, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back soon.
All right, see you soon.
Welcome back.
Welcome. We're back.
Yeah, excited to get into this game. Any final thoughts about the draft?
Yeah, right now, just summarizing the drafts, Terps are running a more fronted-back composition with Tom Kench and Volibear up front. We have Jinx and Orianna in the back, and Xin Zhao's probably like the mediator in the midfield, probably trying to go back, deal damage, and just protect his carries. And with Brock Esports, it's looking more like they have to be the ones to engage. They have a Moo hook, the bandage going in. We have public execution coming in from Mbessa. Both crowd control ultimates coming out. They seem like they need to put their first foot forward and be that one to like engage and start the fight before objectives, because it seems like in a more built out long fight they have less HP to use against Terps.
Yeah, definitely. You were talking about that Xin Zhao pick to protect those carries. I think that'll be especially useful against Mbessa, as you mentioned. That public execution, we'll just send her straight into the back line to wreak havoc, and you gotta have someone there.
Yeah, Xin Zhao's ability, if he doesn't hit a certain person, his Crescent Guard ultimate is able to push back anybody that he hasn't engaged in combat with. So maybe the plan with Terps over here is to perhaps just not focus the Mbessa from Xin Zhao and just be able to push her away as soon as she uses her public execution on a Terps carry.
Yeah, that would be incredibly useful, and it would be awesome to see that. I think I might, jump out of my chair if that gets executed properly. I just love to see it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to shout Shockwave or Super Mega Death Rocket if Lyrax from Terps are able to steal, objective, a Drake or maybe a Baron even with the Death Rocket. Definitely looking forward to some hero plays. These champions all have very high potential. Terps going for a more like stable, tanky comp, perhaps with damage carries, but I'm looking forward to some like high action gameplay from Brock Esports, being able to like dash around the map, just Moo affecting all of the lanes with his bandages.
Yeah, definitely. I think a personal favorite character of mine in this map is Tom Kench. I think he's awesome. He is just a large fish and he eats people, which is great. I think it's very fun. I think he doesn't have that high potential, like you said. He's just very basic. He's very tanky, but that's his job.
Yeah, definitely the reliable tanker you're looking forward to in the bot lane. Like that Devour ultimate, like you said, is going to come in crucial in those team fights, because if let's say Jinx is caught out or Orianna is caught out, somebody's caught out, you need that Tom Kench to be there to devour your teammate, to be able to get them to a safe spot. It gives them a shield. It's able to take them out of the fight for a bit, like take them out of crowd control perhaps. It just keeps them safe.
Yeah, especially, or to isolate an opponent. If you get into a fight and you're trying to single someone out, that Tom Kench can just devour them, spit them out somewhere, maybe closer where your AD carry can, just deal a bunch of damage really fast, and to give you that advantage.
Yeah, and looking forward to just how this Morgana mid lane pick's gonna work. Definitely a flex pick, but I wonder how it's going to go into Orianna, and we're heading into the game in just one moment.
Yeah, Morgana has, historically, and like recently been very weak in a lot of the roles that she plays. And, as I think we're all hearing, a lot of pings coming out into this match.
Yeah, we see the whole map movement. We see Terps Esports going a spread 5 across the map, trying to hold vision control perhaps, not letting Brock Esports get into their jungle early. Maybe Brock Esports is looking for an invade play.
Yeah, I think the Terps, in their match a few weeks ago also did this spread formation, and I think it's worked out for them here because the first person they spot is Tom Kench, and they get that info that there's a lot of people focused in this bot jungle, and they're stepping in right now. Seeing an initial poke come out, they're just lingering around.
Yeah, Brock Esports is playing very aggressive early. They placed down the ward on Raptors just to give their Mumu more information.
Yeah, you place those Raptors, then you'll know when what direction in which the Terps Esports jungler is pathing to see if you can, take any objectives around there or come in for, a free gank.
Yeah, here we see Tom Kench waiting in a bush. I don't quite know who wins this early matchup. I feel like it's probably on the side of Brock Esports, but it seems like lane control is going even right now.
Yeah, just some pokes coming out from the two supports. I think, once you level up, those trades might go in the direction of Terps with that tanky Tom Kench. But right now at level 1, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, I do have to say that Xin Zhao started on Raptors on Vision. He's doing his red buff right now. He's pathing downwards. Maybe he's looking for a level 3, level 2 gank for their bot lane for Terps Esports, but they're pushing Brock Esports down into tower. So is this the correct farming angle for Xin Zhao as we see Amumu's going up into the top lane with his jungle camps?
Yeah, I mean, it's right now in this early game, we're just seeing the Terps have a crazy dominance here in the bottom lane, just walking down. With that enchanter, you don't have any kind of abilities to get someone to back off. So Tom Kench, bit tanky, he'll just take it and just walk you down.
Yeah, you're definitely really relying on Lucian's damage over here with Terps. Even though Tom Kench is a tank, he does a significant amount of damage as we see an engage go in, just some poke coming from both sides, some pressure, lowering Lucian's health, perhaps looking for a stronger angle to be able to execute him, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that knock-up right outside of tower range was great to get that trade. I think it would have ended poorly if they had just slightly miscalculated, but luckily they didn't.
Yeah, right now we see Xin Zhao back in that top lane, both junglers in the top lane. Action is far away from the bot lane. Perhaps they're looking to just farm up early.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Xin Zhao started Raptors. The Terps knew that they had vision there, so, my thinking is they started there to kind of starve them of the information that they so wanted. In doing Raptors first, you can go wherever you want from there. So they don't know currently that Xin Zhao is, top lane and currently recalling. They're playing scared at this point.
Yeah, Xin Zhao recalled. He took top scuttle. Amumu seems to be going for bottom scuttle right now. Will we see another matchup in the river, or is Xin Zhao just going to do his camps normally and maybe look for an angle to path bot and help his Jinx and Tom Kench?
Yeah, we're seeing a couple of pings come out on the scuttle from the side of Terps. I think they want to take this fight.
Bandage Toss coming in from Amumu. Damage from Lucian. Amumu goes in with Bandage Toss. Again, Jinx is down. And it looks very dire in the bot lane for Terps.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit of miscommunication. Jinx went in first instead of Tom Kench, which I think was a bit of a mistake. You get hit by that CC. We saw the flash over the wall, but Amumu has a second bandage to throw out and to follow.
Yeah, we see Jinx coming back with a pickaxe, but after that first death, he's losing a lot of minions under tower. Volibear teleports to bot lane to catch that wave. And there's a lane swap coming in with bot lane going top, perhaps to take control of the Grubs soon. Still 2 minutes away from Grubs.
Yeah, I think talked about this in their first match. They love to lane swap for Grubs. I think they really think it's important for them to get that, prio to take towers.
Yeah, the prio for Grubs really is beneficial for Terps this game with Volibear being able to push the side lane right now. But we see still, even being down one death, Lyrax and Viet Mike are still taking control of this bot lane matchup up here.
Yeah, I think, maybe expecting, but Brock Esports responded pretty quickly to that lane swap.
Yeah, we see Xin Zhao on the side of Terps, Pika coming out in the rushes of top lane. Perhaps looking for a 3-on-2 engage. Are they looking for a dive, perhaps? It's kind of messy here. They don't have a big enough wave for a dive. We have a Mumu coming in to match. Joan Bones hovering his bot lane. Xin Zhao on a Mumu, engaged. Tom Kench going in, Ignite coming out. Tom Kench down. Xin Zhao's going low. Lucian gets another kill. Feats of Warfare for Brock Esports.
Yeah, just a 2-for-0 for Brock Esports, and that's 3-0 in the match right now. Will get them the Feat of Warfare. I think it's disappointing to see. It's very messy, very disorganized out of Terps. They're not coordinating their attacks like Brock is. Brock was all in that brush to assist a Mumu, and you still had people in lane. You had people coming over. I think they started a fight where they shouldn't have because they weren't in position.
Yeah, it seems like some communication might be off, but this Volibear versus Mbessa matchup, public execution coming in from Mbessa. Bread is very yummy. It goes down before Stormbringer can come out. It seems like this Mbessa versus Volibear matchup is more favorable towards Mbessa. It's very messy all around. You gotta wonder if Terps is gonna be able to find their tempo somewhere, maybe towards that Grub team fight, or are they looking for more stability, just play their own game, not get in their heads about like being down 4 kills right now, being down 2,000 gold.
Yeah, you're seeing that tower push top lane as the Grub spawn. I think, Xin Zhao is nowhere near them right now, so, Tom Kench and Jinx are going to have to keep this lane presence up. Amumu's bot lane, they just saw that Hextech Drake go down, and it seems to be that he's pathing up. I think he wants to contest this Grubs fight.
Yeah, it seems like Amumu is everywhere right now, taking objective controls, and there's not a lot of team play coming out from Terps. We have Amumu in the bot river. Xin Zhao still working on his Gromp jungle. Amumu's already on Grubs. So perhaps we have to see faster movement coming out from Terps. There's some engaged movement up here.
Yeah, I think we're seeing, 4 players from Brock Esports converge on this Grubs. I'm not sure if Terps knows that. They know that people are missing. We're seeing some poke try and come out, but their jungler is nowhere, and Brock is going to take those Grubs, all 3 of them.
Yeah, the Grubs fight that we were predicting didn't really come to fruition. It just leaned the way of Brock Esports, with Amumu going back in with a bandit shots. Devour coming out from Tom Kench, saving Jinx. Xin Zhao coming into the lane. Amumu's caught a bit far out. Crescent Guard not coming out for Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao goes down. The Colin coming out from Lucian. Tom Kench going down to Lucian. Jinx, barrier out, lives. Will they go for a dive? They're looking for a dive maybe onto Jinx right now. They're chasing, but it seems like they're giving for the tower plating right now. A very dominant performance from Brock Esports. Lucian, it's looking like a very strong early game, being able to get that early gold and snowball this game perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very confusing. You didn't have any contestation of Grubs, but then after you kind of see, Pika kind of pull up to the top lane and try to start a fight. But my assumption would be, if you're not going to contest the Grubs, why would you try and go, top lane there? If you think you're not strong enough to take that Grubs fight, why are you taking that fight in lane?
Yeah, we see an interesting swap where Volibear is sticking to the mid lane right now, swapping with Orianna going top now. It seems like normal lane positions are back in action with Jinx and Tahm Kench in the bot lane, with Lucian and Emilio coming back to match them. We really got to see some action out of Terps. They're down on a good amount of gold, that 2k gold lead swinging towards Brock Esports. Our laning phase is going slow right now. Next Dragons in about 2 minutes. We gotta wonder where this turning point is gonna come out from Terps.
Yeah, definitely. And Lucian, has 4 of those kills. He's a beast right now. I think he's very scary, especially in this lane right now where it's just 2-on-2. He definitely has an advantage. I think they need to play smart. You were seeing some poke come out, but I think it's a trade for the advantage of Brock Esports there.
Yeah, this top lane matchup is also looking very even still. With Xin Zhao hovering outside of the top lane, Amumu following up. Xin Zhao goes in, Stormbringer comes out, public execution miss, Crescent Guard coming out, TP coming in for Orianna, Shockwave coming out. Mbessa chases down, Xin Zhao's down, Volibear's down. And there's some action in the bot lane where Lucian is just obliterating.
And just lives that?
And with the barrier, he barely lives the tower shot. We didn't get to see the majority of that fight, but Lucian seems to just be taking over this game right now. With all this gold in his hands, he has such strong items in his inventory.
Yeah, it's 10-0 for Brock. It's crazy to see. 4 people died in 2 separate fights, and the Terps have nothing to show for it. They got people low, but they couldn't finish the job.
Yeah, right now the only bright spot on the Terps side is that Orianna up about 20 CS, but you really have to look forward to that Rod of Ages and Archangels perhaps. It's a more scaling champion, so our Terps going to readjust, slow down the gameplay, and try and play for that late game.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we're seeing some poke come out again. I don't know. The Terps keep trying to force some kind of confrontation in the bot lane, but I think it's in their best bet to not do anything right now, protect their tower, their objective. They're trying to test the waters for this dragon fight coming out, but they're not moving up to contest it. We see, Jinx is backing.
Yeah, you're right. I think they should just give this Ocean Drake right now. It's not worth fighting. They're down so much gold. It's impossible to contest. They should just try and keep building their own power and look for a turning point at a major objective. Maybe on Soul Point or perhaps on Herald. Mbessa caught inside the tower, going to half HP. There are 3 members of Terps going in to chase Mbessa right now. Public execution comes out, but Mbessa goes down to Orianna.
Yeah, I think that, public execution came out a bit too late. I think at a certain point you realize you're not going to make it out of that fight, so you want to do as much damage as possible, but you realize that too late.
Yeah, I love the confidence coming out from Terps Esports. They seem to not be backing down, even though this Lucian is so far ahead. Lucian goes down to Jinx, shut down on the side of the Terps. Yeah,
and we're seeing, Emilio, the Terps are trying to run her down, but unfortunately she gets away. But, that's Terps on the board on that Mbessa and that Lucian.
Yeah, a surprising fight in the bot lane for Terps, as Lucian already has an Essence Reaver, while Jinx is still building towards a Bloodthirster or maybe a Infinity Edge. We see a TP coming out from Mbessa in the bot lane. Is a 3-on-2 right now. Devour comes out from Tahm Kench. Will Jinx be able to make it out? Morgana's also here. Jinx 1 HP, chased down by Mbessa. It's a 2-0 for Brock Esports right now.
Yeah, I mean, that Mbessa just had so much mobility as she was just able to chase down Jinx. I think, any other top lane pick, you might be able to get away.
Yeah, we're seeing very good map movement coming out from Brock Esports right now. This Mbessa TP down into bot lane while Mumu caught her top lane like wave, it seems like Brock Esports is everywhere on the map right now. Yes, they may have given up Herald for that, but they're pushing their lead stronger ahead in the bot lane and trying to get everybody fed. This Morgana seems to be more of a utility piece. Like, even though Morgana's behind on her CSing, she's there to support with that black shield, with that root. It seems like Brock Esports really knows how to play this composition that they've built.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was a good move for the Terps to take that Herald. You know, you saw 3 bot. I think that was a great call. You know, it's, you know, the way they stay in the game.
Viet Mike getting caught out right now by a Mumu's bandage toss, getting chased. He tries to run away, but stunned in the middle of his dive, goes down to Lucian once more.
Yeah, I think unfortunate circumstances that Tom Kench W can help you get away, but against a Mumu who has, you know, 2 bandages, you can just stun again to interrupt that.
Yeah, right now we're just seeing very dominant control of the lanes from Brock Esports. I think right now, you know, we gotta see what Terps are going to build up. They seem to be going towards this Morgana, one of Brock Esports' weaker champions. She misses her root. Her soul shackles coming out. 3-on-1, shut down for Jinx. It seems like Terps' game plan right now, feed all the gold to Jinx. She will make something happen. Herald coming out for Terps, trying to get that top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, you know, there's a 5k gold lead for Brock Esports right now, and I think, you know, you're trying to get that back. We see, you know, that tower might provide some gold, but you know, Brock Esports is going to get one right back. You know, might be trying to get that tier 2 tower. We're seeing a TP come in for the Terps. This Amumu is getting caught out, run down right now, and Bessa coming in to assist, gets knocked away by Crescent Guard, and flashes out.
Yeah, Mbessa, very low HP, flash in from Volibear, flash out from Xin Zhao. Mbessa is killed by Jinx. Volibear goes down to Lucian once more. It's a very messy fight, but I think that was the turning point Terps were looking for. They trade Volibear for 2 kills on Mbessa and Amumu. This is like the kind of fights they want to look for. Somebody gets caught out on a side lane like that Amumu. That Mbessa tried to help in the team fight, dashing in, trying to cleave in. But, you know, that strong front line for Terps stood strong, and like Jinx was just being able to like output so much damage. Being 4-3 right now, we see a rapid fire cannon and Infinity Edge coming from Jinx. It's like you're looking at this Jinx's item and you wouldn't notice that you're behind compared to Lucian,
Yeah,
who's
definitely.
8-1.
I think a silver lining to all of that is that, you know, the Terps, you know, get this advantage in setup. Amumu went down, but Xin Zhao stayed alive. You like are able to set up better for this dragon fight with your jungler alive. But we're seeing 5 people for Brock Esports in this one bush. Miss from that Morgana bind.
Yeah, Terps Esports is trying to push in mid lane right now, perhaps trying to pressure this mid lane tower in a trade for Soul Point. Cloud Drake coming out. All members of both sides are here in the bot side river trying to duke it out for this Soul Point. It seems like Soul Bandage coming in, ultimate coming out from Amumu, the Colin comes out, Crescent Guard comes out, Mbessa in the back trying to catch Jinx, cannot get in, but 2 goes down on the side of Terps, 5 back, like still up from Brock. It seems like this Amumu and Mbessa are causing enough of a distraction in the backline of the Terps that like they can't play this like tanky system with a hyper carry in the back that can pump out damage, because Jinx was basically out of that fight the moment it started, with Mbessa hopping onto her instantly. It seems very difficult to play right now because Jinx is your main source of damage, and if she goes down, she went to half HP almost instantly. It's very difficult to play that fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only reason Jinx is still alive is because of that Volibear that was in the backline with them. And we saw that Stormbringer come out, you know, save their lives, but, you know, it broke them up, separated them. Tom Kench got
We
isolated.
see Brock Esports going for that Otacon on spawn. Like, they're moving very quickly, not trying to let Terps catch up to their momentum. It seems like Terps can't get an angle to enter the fight. They were just hovering around this Otacon, didn't even get any poke off. Volibear in the bot lane trying to get that second bot lane tower. It seems like right now Terps is just trying to fight for more control of the map, trying to get these towers pushed in, get these minions pushed in.
Yeah, right now, Rock Esports just seems to be running away with it. They got, all 3 dragons. We're seeing this team fight come out.
Engaged Shockwave from Orianna. We see Emilio coming out, Stormbringer coming out, Crescent Guard going out. Amumu caught from Xin Zhao.
And we're just seeing a retreat from Brock Esports.
Emilio shut down by Orianna.
Mbessa dashes out. Morgana, Dark Binding is going to miss. It's just, a 2 for nothing for Terps.
Yeah, that was a brilliant angle from Terps. They saw that somebody was over-positioned, like overreaching into their side. Mumu caught out instantly, and then they were able to chase for more positioning on that Emilio. Because Morgana was all the way at red buff in the top lane. We see Soul Shackles coming out from Morgana. Lucian trying to do all the damage he can and do. Barrier coming out, shut down from Xin Zhao.
And we're seeing Milio and Amumu come in to assist Morgana. Mbessa is still left. Terps are very weak right now. They didn't get any backs from that first team fight where they got Amumu, and they get away, luckily. That bandage thrown out by Amumu doesn't have enough range to catch that Tom Kench.
Yeah, Orianna did burn TP in, though, to be able to alleviate some of that pressure while Brock Esports was chasing. They were maybe deterred from that full HP, full utility Orianna coming in. Right now, we're seeing Brock Esports lose some of their footing as their 3K gold lead is basically shut down. We're even in gold here for Terps and Brock Esports. It's looking like a very strong comeback from Terps. They're finding their footing again.
Yeah, definitely, but I think it'll be interesting to see in about a minute 40 when both Dragon and Baron comes up, how the Terps will manage that. It's going to be Soul Point, but I think we might see contesting Baron, not contesting Baron, contesting Dragon and maybe letting Baron go, or it'll be interesting to see how Brock responds, what they want to prioritize here.
Yeah, right now, Terps is looking to get this mid tower. It seems like they're vying towards that Cloud Drake, as you said. Are they looking to just deny this Cloud Drake from Brock Esports, deny that Cloud Soul, or are they trying to rush this fast enough to be able to maybe switch over to that Baron and have the actual fight over at Baron? We see Amumu getting caught out by Xin Zhao and Tom Ken. Tressengar comes out. Nothing quite happening. Volibear coming in. He's in the backline onto Lucian. Stormbringer coming out. He's exiting the fight. The Colon coming out. Cancelled. Black Shield burned. It seems like a lot of ultimates were used, but nothing quite comes to fruition. TP from Mbessa coming into the mid lane. Volibear perhaps backing to restore his HP right now. It seems like they're just vying for control and push of this mid lane before any of these objectives spawn in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing Tom Kench get rooted there, denying some poke. Volibear teleports back in, 5 up on both sides. We're seeing some migration leaning towards top lane here from Brock Esports. Amumu just stuck out on the bot side here. Volibear seems to be going in, backing off as he realizes he bit off more than he can chew there. I think everyone is tense. Everyone is trying not to give, the first death, because I think, you'll open the floodgates there.
Yeah, it seems like both sides are playing cat and mouse with the way the mid lane's pushing and pulling. It seems like both sides are very hesitant to go in, as one mistake can cost them the game. Amumu goes in, big ult, public execution coming out, Chris and Gar coming out, Amumu and Mbessa in the back line, Tom Kench goes down, Xin Zhao goes down. Amumu going back in, pressing the pressure. It's 2-0 right now for Brock Esports. That was an insane engage from Amumu and Mbessa, catching Xin Zhao and Tom Kench off guard.
Yeah, and I think that's just like that sole point for Brock Esports there. The Terps just grouped up super closely. We're seeing Jinx get dove right now, and Mbessa flashing to secure that kill. It's salt in the wound at this point.
Yeah,
and they're heading up to do Baron, maybe even.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be a 2-for-1 deal for Brock Esports. They won the fight for Clausel, but they're rushing this Baron right now. Morgana seems to be backing, has TP up. It seems like Terps are trying to rush the position, but this Baron's already on 3,000 health. It's going to be gone before Terps can arrive. Amumu going back in, engaging. Stormbringer coming out from Volibear. What's the plan right now? Is Amumu's just trying to stall for his teammates to get out. Shockwave coming out from Orianna, catches Amumu, but 4 teammates of Brock Esports get out with Baron buff.
Yeah, I think, that's a trade they're willing to take. They get Baron buff, Amumu dies, he lingered a bit too long, I think. But that's an advantage that they'd love to have. And we're seeing this Morgana get kind of jumped by 4 Terps members, gets away, luckily, and we're seeing, Terps back off.
Yeah, as Brock Esports, we're going back to base to restore their HP. Terps said, you had that, let's take this mid tower, trying to perhaps give themselves more space on these lanes so these empowered Baron minions perhaps don't have as much pressure on their lanes. It seems like Terps have to slow down the game now and stall out this Baron buff, or else Brock Esports will take a convincing win by pushing in those lanes and taking those towers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the only objective the Terps have been able to successfully get is, that Rift Herald. And it was practically handed to them when you saw that 3-person push from bot lane out of Brock. I think what really needs to improve in maybe this match or the next one, if they're already thinking about that, is how they play their jungle. This Amumu is just super strong, capable of, dealing large amounts of crowd control to, get that Mbessa in the backline and cause a lot of damage. I think they need to rethink their priorities.
Yeah, it seems like the top laners are having their own fun up top. Crescent Guard coming out from Xin Zhao. They're just trying to keep this Canyon minion off of mid tower. Super long range, being able to lock onto the turret without being targeted back. It seems like Brock Esports are just playing ARAM with this blue buff right now. Top tier 2 goes down by Mbessa. It seems like they're really pushing forward with their so Bandage going in for Amumu. He goes out. Redemption coming out from Brock Esports. They're really vying for this middle tower. Like, they're utilizing their Baron buff incredibly right now, being able to take these towers with 0 to no effort, as Terps just give them so much leeway. They're not able to push back at all right now.
Yeah, and as that top lane tower goes down, we saw Mbessa come in to assist in that taking of mid lane. I think all that's left is just an open inhibitor. I think they were really looking for that in order to get those powerful minions out, especially while they still have Baron buff. But I think by the time they get this inhibitor, it's going to be run out. But I think that's it's still a benefit to them.
Yeah, right now on the minimap, we see a lot of pings on the Dragon Pit. Elder comes back in. Comes out in 2 minutes. We have Baron coming back in 2 minutes 30. It seems like Brock Esports is trying to just keep waves push and position themselves for an Elder Dragon fight. That is their win condition right now. Volibear in the bot lane being chased down right now by 3 members of Brock Esports, 4 members of Brock Esports converging in this bot lane. Milio coming out, Morgana on the flank, gets the volley bear. Soul Shackles coming out. Stormbringer comes out, but he's still stunned by the Soul Shackles. Amumu gets the final hit on volley bear.
Yeah, I think it's when you're this outpowered by the enemy team, being, you know, out of place away from your teammates when you don't have vision like that is definitely, you know, a rookie mistake essentially.
Yeah, Bread is very yummy, is like trying to force something as like Terps are going back down on this 3K gold lead from Brock Esports. They're just trying to hold their position, vying for that Elder Dragon fight, because even though it looks like they're down and dead to rights, that Elder Dragon can change everything. That execution is incredibly powerful. It seems like right now they're just trying to hold their map control and be able to look for an angle into that Dragon Pit and fight Brock Esports. But right now, we just have to look at this positioning. This vision control coming out from Brock Esports is so plentiful in the bottom side jungle. They can see everything. They can see all members of Terp Esports right now.
Yeah, definitely. We got those last-minute recalls out of Brock Esports to, you know, rejuvenate their health. And as we get into this Elder Dragon spawning, we're seeing an early team fight.
The Colin comes out from Lucian, Crescent Guard comes out, and Bessa in the back line already. Xin Zhao gets caught, Stormbringer comes out but does nothing. It's a feast for Brock Esports. It seems like Terps are just put on their back like a baby and put to sleep. They're not even gonna go for that Elder Dragon. They can end right now. Brock Esports has showed a dominance performance in this first game. They've shown that they're able to control this map with a proactive jungler, with this mid lane holding it down, with a strong carry in the bot lane. They're able to reposition for grubs. They're able to just fight as a team, and their team fights are looking very clean. Those backline dives, those like ultimates are comboed very well. They're layered on top of each other very nicely.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of output, that Amumu had so much more over that Xin Zhao. You know, Amumu, you know, as we saw like multiple times, just stunning basically the whole team for Terps Esports, and that Crescent Guard, you know, didn't have as much output as, you know, maybe they thought they were going to have.
Yeah, the story for this next game is Terps, what will they do? Like, draft-wise, are they going to stick to this front-to-back comp? Are they going to try and match this higher mobility comp, try and get more map control? What are they planning to do to adjust and adapt to this dominant performance from Brock Esports? It seems like they're gonna run away with this game. We saw hesitation in the first game. They lost that 4K, 3K gold lead to Terps. They had it even at one point of the game, but it seems like every time they caught up Terps, they got maybe overconfident, or they just let it slip away from them. How are they gonna maintain that? Like, how are they gonna maintain like that pressure on this game? How are they gonna maintain their momentum?
Yeah, definitely. I think they have a lot of room for improvement. I think, you know, especially with some of their picks, I think Volley Bear didn't have as much output. Xin Zhao didn't have as much output. I think, you know, the only really like winning lane was that Orianna mid. That's not enough to win you the games.
Yeah, that Orianna mid just able to like stay ahead in her own lane, but she wasn't like, until later in the game, she wasn't able to like affect other people with that shockwave. She was basically just up on numbers, no effect contributing on that map. Morgana, we saw, was moving around in the top lane and the bot lane, being able to gank as like a second jungler with those roots and that black shield.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have a lot of we have a lot to think about, and maybe we'll give you all a little time to think about things as we cut to a quick commercial break.
All right, see you soon after this break.
Terp Adventures. Take flight at Stamp. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, Feed your mind. Feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform. Find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
And I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will Red turn things around?
Your ad tech stack is simple, streamlined, and easy to manage, right? Yeah, right. If you're in ad tech, then you know you have a problem. Ad tech is messy, and your tech stack includes way too many tools to effectively manage. At Playwire, we're here to uncomplicate your ad tech stack. We've consolidated the entire publisher ad tech stack into a single platform and added in proprietary technology and advanced tools to generate you even higher CPMs. Get access to an ad tech stack that is simpler and smarter.
Suman Kim. My in-game name is Carrots, and I'm the controller of this team.
My name is Hannah. My IGN is Tuxedo Sam, and I play Sentinel for the team.
My name is Sima. My in-game name is Care Bear, and I'm a flex.
My name is Megan. My IGN is Giraffe, and I'm an initiator.
My name is Sophia. My IGN is Soap, and I'm an initiator.
Hi everyone, I'm Ayush. My in-game name is Dulcexo, and I'm the coach.
For me, I think it was just really interesting to see like our names on like social media and like on a website. I'm just like, whoa, my name is on a website but so I think that was like the number one thing that kind of like just it brought the realization of like what kind of team I'm in, like what kind of position I'm in.
Meeting them. It's like hard to make a woman and non-binary friends in Valorant, so it's just really nice that we have like a team specifically for that.
The studio.
Yeah.
Oh, the studio.
The
Oh,
studio.
I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know that existed until like remember like when we first talked about the studio. I was like, what's that? When I first went to the room, I was like, oh, there's cameras and lighting. I'm just like, that's
Nice computer.
Nice computer.
The monitor is
So
crazy.
true.
Winning.
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
W winning.
Getting that.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I feel like
was pretty cool.
hey. I would say supportive is definitely like Dusty and Rachel. Those two, just like making sure we had scrims down, making sure we had practice schedules down. Like Dusty making sure like to pick out what we did wrong, just like helping us improve. I think definitely.
Yeah, Dusty's a very present coach, so
Very.
it's like he's really reliable and helped us through the whole season.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, you'd even like schedule things for us,
Like organize all those schedules.
help us map bands and like talk to
Stats,
them
yeah.
if like realize if one of them was like unranked or something. Breaking a
Forfeit
rule.
teams.
Making teams forfeit.
Maybe we don't talk about that last part.
I would also say like our fans in chat, like on
Oh,
stream and
true.
stuff. It was nice knowing
W
people
chat.
watching us.
And the haters.
Oh yeah.
Improve in the higher division.
Yeah, it is definitely more challenging because we're in a higher division now. But I think we could with our coordination. I definitely think we could. We need to bring home another one of these.
It feels great.
You
Yeah.
guys know this is the first title that Terps Esports has won.
Wait, seriously?
And by
really?
women.
Oh, seriously? Oh,
First down.
cool.
I like playing Valorant.
Have an excuse to play games.
That's true. That's good.
For me, I joined because I've always wanted to be on a women's team, especially since I got to UMD, and me and Dusty had always tried to make teams work every semester, and this was the first time it actually did work and stuck, and the people who tried out were committed. So I guess I've always just wanted to be on a women's team to connect more to that community.
To make friends.
So I had that gap, without a team for a while, and then I saw the form, and I was like, I really want to try this. This sounds fun. And then, yeah, I play Valorant too much. First of all, I did not imagine me being IGL when I first started because I am outside of my Lilac team. I am known as the no brain, only aim chamber in comp. So I did not imagine myself being IGL. But I think it's if there were some difficulties in the beginning because no one I wasn't used to giving out comms. I was just very confused. But I think now it's just the amount of trust that my teammates give me when I give out comms and the amount of coordination that we have. I just love being IGLing because I trust that things will work out.
I'm Greg. Greg, also known as Sind, and I'm an initiator player for the Valorant Premier Team.
I'm Kazu, and I go by NJV, and I'm the coach for the team.
I'm Richard, and I go by Pickle Richard, and I'm the duelist player.
Pretty fun. I definitely liked all the guys I was playing with. It's fun to get in the server with them. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge balancing it with other things, but
yeah,
it's definitely something that I enjoy doing a lot.
Yeah, making like all the friends that we made through this team, so it really makes me happy. So it's like really awesome that we did this.
Yeah, I think I had really fun times on this team. I played well every single game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment was map 5. I think that was a really fun match.
The grand finals.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
the
was
grand
fun.
final. Yeah.
Remember what map it was?
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was Sunset. Yeah,
Sunset.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you played Raze.
Yeah, I played Raze.
Yeah, no, that map was really intense. Like, it was super, super hard. The pressure was definitely on. Like, it was super late at night. It was like midnight or
something. It was very late. It was really
1 a.m. or
like my favorite one was probably the first match of the season.
Oh yeah,
First time in the studio together.
Oh, in the studio.
Oh,
yeah, that was fun. It was like
fun.
Fun seeing all the Academy boys in the studio. So that was sick. Yeah.
My personal goal is I think I'm gonna try to hit Radiant this season.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely to win Big Ten right now, and then place top 8 in CVAL. That's our goal.
Top 8 CVAL.
Yeah.
Big Ten is definitely the thing I'm most interested in seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not flying out, but hopefully, or the boys do well over it. Where is it? OSU? Ohio State?
Yeah, Ohio. I promise at least second place.
At least second place? I think we can win it.
I think we can win it too.
I think we can.
We gotta be humble.
Everyone, we just we can't get complacent.
Can't get complacent. Never that.
That's a good one.
Go ahead.
Honestly, like unironically, I think Kazu is a very fun person to have in the program as like an emotional leader. Even though he doesn't always, sometimes things can get a little disorganized with Kazu at the helm.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but for as much flack as we give him for being terrible at the game, he's actually.
Yeah, if you watch our games
he's actually a very
while I play, you'll be surprised. Like, I hear House is guy my coach a lot.
Yeah,
weird about that.
But I think Kazu's a great addition for him. I love that.
Yeah, I love
him.
You
love Valorant.
He's very wholesome.
He is very wholesome.
Yeah, he's radiant. Remember that.
I'm radiant. Remember that.
Yeah, his timeouts have improved a lot too. As someone who's seen him coach over the last like 2.5 years.
Yeah,
your old timeouts were.
Yeah, that was when I was a little baby boy coach.
Yeah, but now he's improved a lot.
Yeah.
I really like having you as coach.
Thank you, Gregory. Wow, this is great. Do this more often.
That's the most praise you've ever heard.
He got an ego boost for free today.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Welcome back, and here we are in the draft to get us started. We're seeing, a couple of bans getting thrown out, similar to the last match we saw. We're seeing that Gragas, that Jarvan, that Wukong, and then that Victor, that Trundle, and now an Ivern ban coming out.
Yeah, it's definitely very similar to the first match's ban, as you said, Ive. All these characters are the same, besides the Ivern. That's a new ban coming out. Last match, I believe Brock Esports banned Wukong instead, but Terps are opting to ban Wukong for them. Zaya coming out from Brock Esports as a first pick. Ziggs being matched from Terps. Maybe they're looking just to equalize this bot lane. Yone coming out from Terps. Are they looking for maybe like a strong side top lane for Terps, and Brock Esports perhaps are going for the same thing? Yasuo being picked by Brock Esports. Yasuo Diana, no time to think for Terps. They're looking for very close combat, dive comp again, Brock Esports.
Yeah, I think a bit of symmetry with that Yone Yasuo pick. They're compared a lot, I think. Is there not a unique uh, quest when both of them are playing? Am I correct? Or
I'm I'm not quite sure, but if there isn't one, there certainly should be one because uh, because Yasuo and Yone are brothers in the lore of Summoner's Rift, and we see a Rek'Sai pick coming out from Terps. That Rek'Sai most likely being picked for the top lane. We've seen in pro play, Broken Blade plays it in the top lane. It's a very strong bruiser, tanker champion. It's very stable and it's stable in the laning phase, and it's able to maintain control and be able to ride those tunnels and be able to, help assist his other lanes. And we see a Leona ban coming out from Terps.
yeah, I think Rek'Sai feels like an unusual pick to me. I think I wasn't expecting to see it tonight, but I'm excited to see how their Terps is gonna use it.
Yeah, and we have a Olaf ban coming out from Brock Esports. Maybe they're looking towards this Rek'Sai pick as not a top laner, but instead a jungler. So they're still banning out top laners for Terps, and Terps seem to be looking forward towards the support, banning out that Xayah Rakan combo. They're very well synergized together. Will Brock Esports try and flex their pick to ban a support, or are they just gonna keep banning top laners here? I think a good ban here maybe might be Rumble if they're looking towards that top lane. Rumble, Gwen, still very strong even though it might not be as meta as before. Maybe that Camille can be a secret pick coming out. They're opting to ban that Urgot, it seems, for the top laner of Terps.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe it'll pay off, maybe it won't. If this Rek'Sai is top, then Brock Esports has just wasted their last few bans trying to ban out a top laner that's already picked their champion. Seeing this Rel come out, we're seeing a Senna hover. You know, possibly, a Senna support, Xayah 80 carry. We're seeing it switch to Nautilus, just hovering a bunch of different champions here.
Maybe trying to show off their flexibility. You ban these supports, but I can still play so many characters. It seems like they're locking in with that Alistar with Xayah. That Alistar provides good engage and a optimal amount of peel against this engage comp that Terps is building, with Yone being able to Blade Barrage in, Rel going in with Magnet Storm. It seems like Brock Esports, they're playing a more mobile comp like last game, but they're sticking towards this flexible play where they can push and pull. Like Cassante coming out for Brock Esports, a very reliable tanker in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we're seeing on the side of Brock Esports and a Rumble coming out, I think they were correct in predicting that Rek'Sai was going to be the jungle play here for the side of Terps. And we're going to see that Rumble top against Cassante.
Yeah, it's looking like a very strong... me personally, I prefer Terps composition right now. You would see all these characters, notably in pro play, with this Rumble top being one of the most unstoppable laners, being able to just keep control of his lane with that flamethrower. But you also see that strong Yone mid Ziggs. It's almost impossible to lose a lane with him, being able to farm from a distance. It's looking like a tough draft for Brock Esports, going for more non-conventional picks with that Yasuo, that Diana that aren't seen very often. And I wonder how this short-range Xayah is gonna do in lane against this far-range bombing Ziggs. How is she gonna survive against all this slowing and crowd control from the side of Terps? It's looking like a more favorable draft for Terps, but ultimately it's down to how they play.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that Diana jungle is kind of commonplace. I think a lot of people know it at this point, can play around it to try and counter it. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that happens with that jungle combination that we saw last match. And, hopefully we can see an improvement for Terps.
Yeah, and last look at the draft. We're about to head into the game, dropping into Summoner's Rift soon enough.
And looking at all our players, locked in, ready to go. I think it'll be, as I was saying, really important to see that jungle improvement. I think maybe that change into Rek'Sai might be what they need. Give them a bit of a mental boost, possibly. But I think definitely that early, lane control out of Ziggs bot lane is going to be great. He's great for getting towers, destroying, towers for feats, and getting that advantage.
Yeah, right now, we just want to see, I just want to see some improvements from our Terps, being able to control the map, being able to, get into those team fights, because it seems like at last game they were like stuck in those choke points, not being able to get into the team fights at Drake Pit or for Grubs or for Baron. They kind of just let those objectives go away. Like Otacon was uncontested. That was an incredibly fast Otacon from Brock Esports. But right now we can't really tell. It may be a more favorable draft for, our Terps, but it's really down to how they play. Are they going to look for an early lane swap for Grubs again? Do they know how to play those lane swaps and be able to take control of the map? Because it seems like in the early and mid game, they lost control. Their late game seems to be very good. If they get that lead in the early and mid game, they can probably and most likely take control of that game. They knew how to close that gold lead from 4K and 3K down. They were able to go even with Brock Esports when they fumbled the bag a little. But right now, I think they just need to be able to win early, be able to take control of their own lanes, and just play a steady game, play a slower and more methodical game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, there's always first game jitters that you can, kind of shake out, hopefully, to see some improvement. I think really, you were talking about the early game. What we saw early game last match was a lot of disorganization, a lot of possibly miscommunication. People were going in when the rest of their team that was, right next to them wasn't. I think communication is key here, and, gonna want to see more of that. I want to see, a coordinated push. It's disappointing to see when the Terps come in for a gank and then they're out of place, and then they just give, a kill to, the Xayah or possibly, the Cassante top lane for free when they shouldn't have. They possibly, could have won something there. I think, as you were saying, that early game is important.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to feed that Diana or Yasuo. These are very potent carry champions. They're not typically played because of how volatile they can be. But if you're given gold, if you're given kills and resources, these characters are able to take over the game. This Yasuo is able to 1 versus 5 potentially. I mean, I'm just gonna make some puns right now. Rumble has to be the equalizer, and Rek'Sai has to void rush into that fight. I guess you could say this Yasuo has his fate sealed by Yone, and perhaps that Mega Inferno Bomb from Ziggs. Okay, maybe that's not the strongest pun.
Yeah, I think you're losing me. You had. I don't even know if you had me in the beginning.
I feel like I was cooking with the equalizer and the fate sealed.
I think maybe they were good. They were decent. I don't think they were great. I think, there's not the material you're working with isn't the best, but I think you made the most of it. And then, at a certain point, you have to say, I'm out. I think when you see that the ultimate for Ziggs is called Mega Inferno Bomb, you can't really fit that into, a candid sentence. You just have to say, I'm done. I'm done. That's my 3. That's my 5 minutes. It was great. I love you all, and good night. But
when you're put up on the TED Talk, TED has to talk, so you have to make the best out of your situation. Maybe I should have skipped it. Maybe I should have said Rel's Magnet Storm is going to bring the storm into this game. I don't know.
Okay, see, I think you should have skipped that one too.
Okay.
I think your first 3 were great. Your back half, not the best.
Okay, maybe we should switch over to Brock Esports. You want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, I can take a shot at it. Okay, so, Alistar is going to have unbreakable will to compete against Lyrex and Viet Mike in the bot lane. I'm going to skip that one. Yasuo is going to be on his last breath for basically the entire game as he gets zoned out of mid lane by Yone. Cassante is going to have to go all out in order to put a stop to the Terps Esports incredible momentum I hope to see them build in this early and mid game. And we're going to ignore the Diana and the Xayah because their ultimates are kind of tough to say, tough to fit in.
It's a little edgy, but if you won't take a crack at it, I've already embarrassed myself. I might as well try.
You can.
Maybe this Diana's Moonfall is Brock Esports' windfall. Perhaps they're about to find a second win with this Diana being able to clump all of Terps together. And this Featherstorm, like that Magnet Storm, might be a devastating weather condition for
unusual weather event Featherstorm occurring on the Summoner's Rift. I will give it to you that Diana one was good. I think
I was cooking.
You were kind of cooking. I think the use of the term windfall was, unexpected, incredible. Definitely wasn't something I was thinking of when I was looking over that. But you pulled it out. I think you kind of redeemed yourself with that one. But I think Featherstorm is tough for anyone. Yeah. I think you could get the greatest minds in the world to come into the studio and give it their all to try and make a pun or some witty sentence about Featherstorm, and I think they would all fail.
Yeah, I don't quite know how some of these more edgy ultimates might go into the game, like Mega Inferno Bomb. First thought that comes to mind, Oppenheimer. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
I have seen Oppenheimer. Great film. I think it's incredible. Robert Downey Jr. gives a great performance. So does Cillian Murphy.
Excellent. Cillian Murphy, Peaky Blinders, actually one of my favorite modern TV shows. It's he's a character or actor that doesn't want to stand out, but those eyes really capture you.
Yeah, it's how people with blue eyes look at you. And you said Peaky Blinders, and it did trigger the sleeper cell in my brain. I impulsively wanted to do a British accent, but I didn't, probably for the benefit of you and everyone watching the broadcast. And as I'm hearing, we're getting into this Summoner's Rift. We're seeing that 5-man spread from Terps and from Brock this time, but they're breaking that up on the side of Brock to get this early invade.
Yeah, Brock seems to be loving this ward plant on Raptors, trying to keep track of the enemy jungler, trying to keep track of Terps jungler. Right now, it seems like they're playing that 5-man spread you said, but Terps Esports also have that ward on Brock Esports Raptors. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of movement going on, but they're just trying to prod out positioning, trying to gain some poke and positioning on the game. Ziggs Q hitting Xayah, perhaps that little bit of damage will lead into the game and give that advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I think in that first map there, Terps was threw them for a loop when we saw Brock invade there. And they responded kind this time. We're seeing some early damage come out of the bot lane. Xayah's going to hop up on her horse to try and tank, get that mobility to run away from that Alistar there. I think all around a beneficial trade for Terps. Alistar getting down to about a third of his health. Xayah coming out there.
Yeah, it seems like both Terps and Brock's bot lane are more focused on poking each other out, more focused on trying to be able to like take each other's HP bars lower before pushing in this big wave. Perhaps, Lyrax knows that Xayah is not a very good, wave clearer early on, so he wants to push this big wave in, so the Xayah has no idea what to do with all these minions dying to his own turret. He's losing gold progressively as we speak.
Yeah, definitely. I think as we saw in the previous match, that early zone out for the side of Terps, just dominance in lane right now. I think what really kind of shook things up is this jungle gank that came in for Brock Esports, and as we're seeing right now, that Diana is pathing bot, so it's possible that we could see like the same thing again, or maybe a bit different. We're seeing like
yeah, we see an early engage from Rel catching both bot laners. Flash comes out from Alistar. It seems very dire for Brock Esports, unlike the first match where it was like a push and a pull from both sides. It seems like Terps have really gotten control of this game right now. They're really dictating the pace in this bot lane. Xayah had to recall early. Terps trying to push this wave in and trying to make Xayah lose as much gold as possible. Can Alistar do anything to prevent this? Not really. We see Diana hovering bot, but not quite committing to a dive or a gank. Perhaps just go for scuttle.
Yeah, and then while that was all happening, we saw Rek'Sai come mid lane for an early gank to get the kill on that Yasuo there for an early lead in the mid lane.
Yeah, right now it's a pretty even top lane matchup. Rumble was more favored, being able to poke and prod out this Cassante. However, Rumble, you can't lose top lane matchup, but it's very hard to be able to win against a Cassante. Cassante is just so tanky and such a reliable top laner. There's really nothing to do. It's going to be a more boring matchup in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely. And as we see Rek'Sai kind of come back, did that first wave clear, get your items. Cassante trying to zone off this Rumble from farm, but he's going to take this engage.
They're not level 6 yet. Rumble trying to take early action. Q comes out from Cassante. It seems pretty even. Rumble really needs his heat bar to reach that red capacity to be able to overheat and deal a lot of physical damage. He's trying to look for an engage angle right now, but we see on the minimap Diana's coming up to the top lane, perhaps trying to punish some over-eagerness from Rumble, but there is a ward in that top lane river bush.
Yeah, and I think that Diana senses that and just kind of backs off a bit, waits for the Rumble to overextend, but he still knows that she's there and just backs under tower. We're seeing another engage from the bot lane here. Alistar is just going to get caught out, taking a bit of damage. So is that Xayah. A beneficial trade for the Terps. It seems that Brock Esports right now is stuck under tower, just trying to get their farm up to try and, maybe get a beneficial engage. But, nothing is going their way currently in this bot lane.
Yeah, and as we were talking about the bot lane, Yasuo was caught out by Rek'Sai once again in that mid lane topside bush. It seems like this Rek'Sai is really proactive. In the first game, Terps jungler was sort of losing control on that Xin Zhao, but this Rek'Sai seems like a much better look. Seems very proactive, very aware of the positioning of Brock Esports.
Yeah, and I definitely think something that was ignored in the early game was that mid. Junglers didn't really do anything. You had 0-0 until that first team fight for Morgana and Orianna there. And I think the first 2 kills towards that Feats of Warfare is coming out of the mid lane. And I think that's great to see, to get that Yone fed.
Yeah, right now we're seeing some action down in the bot lane. Perhaps Brock Esports vying over for this early Drake control again. They seem to love to be able to prioritize these early objectives, especially when they have push on the bot lane. Right now, the bot lane for Brock Esports isn't particularly winning, so Diana might be more hesitant on starting that Cloud Drake. And her mid laner, Yasuo, isn't doing quite well, being down 2 deaths to Yasuo's none. You know, it's looking like a very stable game state for Terps Esports. They're not losing control of the game. They're even in most lanes with their CSing, and, you know, they're looking very solid compared to the first game. They're taking control of this early game, like I said, they needed to do.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, while we were talking, we saw Rek'Sai path bot lane to secure that last kill on the Xayah to get that Feats of Warfare. And I think possibly they might move towards that early Drake. We're seeing Yone getting ganked by this Diana here, but luckily with that mobility he has, is able to get out. You know, saved him his life. We're seeing Diana path top lane for Grubs here.
Yeah. And now Terps jungler Pika on that Rek'Sai is going to start up first Drake. Diana and Cassante are on Grubs. They're looking towards a fast Grub finish perhaps before Terps can react while they're trading this first dragon for Grubs.
Yeah, and I mean, we get that Cloud Drake. Ziggs brought the Summer Spell teleport for, you know, this lane swap. We're seeing, you know, a converge on Grubs here. Cassante and Diana are already there. You know, they're still fighting. We see
Ziggs being able to steal 1 Grub away. I mean, it's not too bad for Terps. They were able to get a free dragon and be able to minimize their losses on that top lane Grubs. Like, 1 Grub is better than none. It's such a significant objective in taking, like, being able to take towers, is having 1 Grub.
Definitely.
And there's a lane swap coming in where Cassante and Ziggs are duking it out right now. Alistar comes in, Ziggs knocked up, ignited. Cassante kills Ziggs. Rek'Sai going in, trying to help out the fight, but it seems like Alistar and Cassante are a strong duo right now. Rek'Sai really low. Ultimate comes out, Void Rush. Diana coming in, catches and shuts down Rek'Sai. That was a nasty misplay from Terps. They seem to have gone over eager in the top lane, pushing for control, and Cassante Alistar was able to stall long enough for Diana to come in and, like, sweep Rek'Sai off of her feet.
Definitely, and I think, you know, I think Terps just assumed that Cassante was going to be alone in that top lane, didn't know that Alistar was going to be there, and that's their 2, you know, tankiest members of the team for Brock Esports. And it's just, you know, they can take so much, and in this early game, you know, your carry can only deal out so much. And, you know, I think they miscalculated, overstepped, and, you know, they thought they had an even team fight when that Rek'Sai came in,
yeah,
but Diana was there
going
waiting.
in alone right now. Magnastorm coming out from Rel, and Diana uses Moonfall but dies instantly from Terps. It seems like Diana overplayed her hand, not waiting for her ADC and support to go in with her. Maybe she saw an angle that perhaps wasn't, like, matched up with her teammates. Right now, it seems like both sides are a bit antsy about what they do. Like, maybe, like, the first game dragged on for too long, and they're getting a little too excited as the second game has started. Rek'Sai going into this mid wave again. Fate Sealed coming out, misses on Yasuo. Yasuo dashes out. It seems like they cannot chase Yasuo right now. Rek'Sai 1v1 versus Yasuo. Diana comes in. Will Rek'Sai get this final blow? No, he will not. No, she will not. Yasuo kills Rek'Sai, and it seems like I was saying, they're getting antsy. Both sides seem to not be playing, like, stable like they were at the start. Like, I don't know what's gone into their heads. They're just overexcited and overextending right now a lot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, like, kill hungry, desperate for that early lead. I think they had some great plays in the beginning there where they had that early kill lead, you know, 2-0, like that 3-0 for that Feats of Warfare. But right now it's 4-3, you know. Brock Esports has clawed it back, and I think that's due to, like, you know, the overextension of Terps. I think what they need to do right now is just sit back, maintain what little of a lead they have left, and then just use that to, springboard into another dragon or Rift Herald or like the first turret. That's still up for grabs, and so is the objectives.
Yeah, like you said, I think Terps just need to sit back and relax a lot more. They're getting a little too proactive. I mean, this gank in the mid lane catches Yasuo for Rek'Sai. It's a beautiful gank once more in the mid lane, but they need to sit back. Their champions are a lot better in the late game. Ziggs being able to scale with that AP. Yasuo and Rumble just like strong mid laners and being able to control the map very easily with their ultimates. They just need to be more patient and play for these team fights. They're gonna look a lot sharper compared to Brock Esports on paper because they have a lot more crowd control in these ultimates.
Definitely. We're seeing that Rumble get another plate on turret right before the laning phase ends. A minute left. And we're seeing that setup for Dragon. We saw that bottom scuttle get taken for that vision. And we're seeing Alistar and Diana just group up in this bush trying to get an early pick on this Rumble.
Yeah, it seems like Rumble has given up on the idea of leaving, ulting the wave, just trying to minimize his losses right now, and he's gonna get caught out by Diana. Meanwhile, Yasuo is caught out on Tridebush by Ziggs and Rel. It seems like both sides... Oh, dash in, flash in from Rel. Magnustor comes out, Rek'Sai goes Void Rush. He seems to be 1v4ing deep in the sauce right now. It has a wave of hysteria hit the Summoner's Rift, and everybody has lost control of their characters because it seems like it's misplay after misplay.
Definitely. I think, when you saw Xayah, out there, we're seeing this team fight again happen. Some poke coming out, a TP going in, that Drake getting claimed. Rumble's going to go in, try and get some damage out. But we're just seeing trades happen right now. Back off from Terps. They're seeing 4 people on the side of Brock come in. And maybe it's the best bet to not take that fight. I think, we're seeing a lot of kill-hungry players on both sides. They're trying to isolate. And I think they did a great job in those initial picks. But I think when they saw Xayah in the jungle, they didn't have the vision to know that 3 other people were coming up to assist. So when Rek'Sai went in, they were just caught out. And then that's your jungler gone for Dragon contest. And, that smite is really important for that. And so you just have to back off there.
Yeah, even though right now it seems like very sloppy play from both sides, Terps has got a notable lead on the gold, about 1,000 gold lead, coming mainly from Ziggs, probably up on a lot of CS. Flash coming out and burn from Rumble. It seems like they're vying for this Herald fight in the top river right now. With 4 people there, Rumble does not have teleport, neither does Cassante, so it seems like it's going to be a 4v4 battle. Alistar caught out right now. Magnustorm coming out, Moonfall coming out. Rek'Sai catches Alistar. It's a messy fight, but Terps gets the better of Brock Esports. But Diana overextending onto Lyrax Ziggs. It looks like they're just trying to force something to mitigate their losses in the mid lane, but this Rel isn't going to let anything happen. However, Rel did in fact overextend while trying to protect Ziggs, dying to Diana. This Diana is very fed right now, while even on camp farming compared to Rek'Sai, it's not too far off kill-wise. 4-1 for Diana, 6-3 to Rek'Sai. It looks like these junglers are going to dictate the pace of this game. They're trying to carry their team. They're on more high damage carries compared to last game. They're trying to force the initiative.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was an astonishing overextension for Viet Mike on Rel. It's just Ziggs was more focused on clearing the wave instead of taking that engage because they had already secured the Rift Herald, and we're seeing that first turret come out. That's going to be feats of strength claimed by the Terps. But you know, I think we're seeing these great starts to engages when that you know, contest for Rift Herald happened. Yasuo was still top lane, so they really went into a 4v3 there for Brock Esports, and they won that engage, but they just wanted more. I think we're just, as you said, getting too greedy.
Yeah, right now, Alistar Hex slashes in, Magnastor coming out from Rel, Featherstore coming out, Redemption, Moonfall also coming out, Ziggs down to Diana, Teleport, Fate Sealed coming out from Yone. Yone catches Diana. It seems like an even fight. Will they force more? Yasuo also teleported into this fight. It seems like it's a 1-for-1 trade, Ziggs for Diana. And Bread is very yummy, catches Helium in the bot lane in a 1v1 situation. It seems like Bread is very comfortable on this Rumble. I mean, he's dictating, it seems, the lane matchup versus Cassante right now.
Yeah, we're seeing Yone get some poke out on the Alistar. I think, you know, that bot lane was just a war of attrition, essentially, that poke was coming out from both Rumble and Cassante for, you know, forever, while we saw multiple team fights happening, while we saw, like, damage being done on either side, and then Rumble and Cassante were just in their own world, and luckily, Terps Esports came out on top.
Yeah, right now we're looking at a very stable game from Terps. They're really, like I said, they're really able to, like, once they get this lead, they're able to maintain their position. They're looking to scale into this late game. They're, like, holding their position very solidly. I mean, I'm just looking forward to a major objective, perhaps another Drake, or perhaps when Baron comes out, Shelly comes out in the mid lane. Terps perhaps trying to force this mid turret to go down. Shelly charges in, takes mid tier 1. It's looking good for Terps. They have good control over the map. Yone gets bot tier 1 tower. Alistar goes in. Yasuo goes up. Magnastorm comes out. Redemption comes out. Moonfall comes out. Turret shots killing Cassante. Nobody has died somehow. Everybody on Terps Esports very low HP. Yone goes in, Fate Sealed, Equalizer coming out. Yone is full HP, able to carry this fight, but he's backing off right now, trying to stabilize, not give anything to Brock Esports.
Okay, we're seeing this TP come out from Ziggs to come in, help clean up. We're seeing a lot of backs, a lot of TPs. They have those summoner spells up, so they can, you know, they luckily got away without dying, so they can quickly re-enter this fight. And we're seeing this dragon fight come out, and then in about 10 seconds, Otacon comes up too. I think, you know, destroying that turret, getting that fight under their own turret to deal damage, to make them afraid, to get those kills, really, you know, gave them the advantage that they needed there. And, you know, they could possibly get 2 objectives here. Diana is trying to engage here, but Rel is just hiding in that bush there, just to spot, make sure that they have, you know, safe space to do this objective, but it looks like they're going to back off of it for now.
Yeah, Terps are maintaining very good map control right now. Like you said, being able to take advantage of that fight mid, they instantly rush towards that Drake. They burn 2 TPs going back down for that Drake. And right now, Otacon seems to be on everybody's mind. Rumble and Cassante both in the top lane, both TPs burned. It seems like a repeat, perhaps, of that Herald fight. Is it going to be a 4-on-4 again for this Otacon? Or are they going to stall out this like matchup and perhaps just prod each other out in the bot lane?
Yeah, I think right now we're just seeing, like, trying to clear vision on Otacon to, you know, make the other team suspicious of what is happening. We saw Ziggs, you know, clear the wave mid to push that under tower to give them the advantage of, you know, taking this Otacon fight. And we're seeing, you know, Alistar back. Diana is trying to step in. You know, just this grouping, not a whole lot of action happening, but they're all ready and waiting.
Yeah, it seems like both sides are positioning themselves for a large fight, either before the objective or to take control of Otacon. I wonder if Brock Esports know that they have the teleport advantage coming up on Cassante, being able to engage on that fight, while Bread is very yummy is still halfway towards his TP. I wonder if they're going to start and force the initiative, or do they think they're so behind gold-wise that they shouldn't try and like force anything until Terps engages onto them.
Yeah, and I think they're just pushing Brock Esports back into their jungle. Yasuo getting caught out again by Yone, and Rel is going to get
Instantly
that
killed
kill.
by Yone. Fate Sealed coming out from Yone, catches 2. Redemption comes out on the side of Terps. Void Rush goes in for Rek'Sai. It's a messy fight under Brock Esports tower. I feel like that eagerness is coming back up again from Terps. Perhaps Rek'Sai just overextended on accident. It's a very difficult champion to play, but they could have rushed Otacon after that Yasuo pick, but they decided to keep on fighting, so now neither sides can force that objective.
Yeah, I think at this point, maybe the thought process was that Yasuo was not enough to secure them that Otacon. They want to get that safe objective. They don't want to like try and have to fight for it again. And you know that Cassante is very tanky. They don't want him coming in or that Alistar screwing up any of their plans. I think what they really want to do is maybe like get a frontliner as well, just to make it easier to kind of jump in their backline, get rid of, you know, that Diana maybe. I think especially like they're looking for a jungler, a kill on Brock Esports' jungle to get rid of that smite to make it safer for them to do something.
Yeah, you're right, Ive. They're positioning them. Brock Esports is positioning themselves towards this Otacon still, with Yasuo matching Rumble top with teleport active on all sides. Everybody seems to be gearing towards a fight towards bot lane. The Magnetstorm coming out from Rel. Rek'Sai going in. Unstoppable. All out goes Cassante. It's a very messy fight right now, but Rel gets caught by Diana. Rumble goes golden, flashes out, Moonfall comes out from Diana. It's a crazy fight. Yone catches Yasuo, Diana catches Yone. It seems to be favored towards Brock Esports right now. It's a 2 versus 4. Can Terps Esports create a miracle? Alistar goes down, and Rek'Sai somehow escapes from the grasp of Cassante. Cassante goes in Qs, and it's a fight leading towards the side of Brock Esports. They played that very, very well. Like it was a fast engage on the side of Terps with that Magnetstorm coming in from Rel. It got increasingly messy within that fight. It seemed like it was swaying towards the side of Terps, but in the middle of everything, Brock Esports somehow prevailed. It doesn't make any sense to me right now, because Terps was up about 3 to 4k gold, and now they've cut it down to almost even Brock Esports.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see when you see like such a massive group in there from Brock Esports. You would think that Ziggs would be able to come in, you know, with his ultimate, you know, that massive bomb, but we didn't really see that. I think like the tanks did the heavy lifting there, took a lot of damage for them, and you know, like that peel, and you know, Terps wasn't able to readjust to say, hey, maybe we have to like stop hitting these guys and maybe hit the people that are doing a bunch of damage to us. Like we're seeing that Yasuo kill, but at this point, like that Yasuo is like not a factor in these team fights. He gets caught out so early, so often. His farm is, you know, like so low compared to Yone. It's like it's not a player that makes a difference on either side at this point.
Yeah, right now we're seeing this fight over Mountain Dragon. Diana goes in, Moonfall comes out, but caught early by Rumble. Yasuo also caught early. It seems like Brock Esports didn't have any vision or map control on Mountain Dragon, getting soul point for Terps. They're rushing Otacon now. It was as we were just talking about the excellence coming out from Brock Esports, Terps has shown that they're still keeping that map control, that macro, that objective, you know, priority. They're keeping like the big picture in their head. Even though they might be losing these like small fights, losing these gold leads, they've extended themselves back to another like 3K gold lead. I mean, their map control certainly looks a lot more solid than the first game. They're rushing towards Baron, it seems, right now, perhaps trying to ward out some vision and keep control of the next major objective. Maybe stall it out for 4 minutes, keep farming until that soul comes up for Terps.
Yeah, it was just a disadvantageous position for Brock to just go in there. It's confusing as to why they wanted that Drake so badly. It wasn't even, sole point for them, but they still went in anyway. And, the bigger objective at stake there, Otacon, only comes once a game. They just gave that up for trying to get a Drake that was, at this point in the game, inconsequential. I would say that Otacon is more important.
Yeah, right now it seems like Terps are really like pushing in deep into the control of Brock Esports jungle, taking control of this mid lane, trying to force pressure on these lanes, trying to keep these waves push, make Brock Esports not be able to have any control of their own side of the map.
Yeah, and we're seeing 4 mid for Terps, and 4 hanging around the area for Brock. That Alistar is kind of camping in the bush, hoping that they do a tower dive. But that's just not going to happen. We're just seeing some farm being taken.
Yone is pushed deep into the bot lane. Diana comes to help Cassante. Moonfall comes out from Diana, but this Yone is strong. Yone is killing Diana, and will he be able to get out from the grasp of Cassante? Cassante seems adamant on chasing. Rel goes in with Magnastorm. Mega Inferno Bomb comes out from Ziggs. The Featherstorm comes out from Xayah. It seems like just pressuring ultimates to take that mid lane turret. Terps are showing dominating performance right now.
Yeah, definitely. Xayah, Rel, I think just all that damage that happened to her was from the tower. She's so beefy at this point where she's tanked those tower hits as they dove under it and destroyed it and saved her. And right now they're going to get Baron for free with that Diana dead when she went to go assist with the Cassante bot lane against Yone and just kind of failed there. It's just a free objective.
Yeah, it's just a no contest from the side of Brock Esports. They're not even paying attention to that Baron. They're just trying to keep their waves pushed like Terps were last game. But right now, Terps have not lost a single turret. It's going to be hard from the side of Brock Esports to keep those Baron minions at bay. Terps has played it excellent early game to give the this map control. Those turrets being up are crucial on map control. They're able to have more leeway. Cassante takes down the first turret for Brock Esports on the bot lane, but still, that mid lane turret is going to keep those minions from Brock Esports at bay, so Terps can just easily push out their own minions, and with that Baron buff, those Canyon minions are going to snipe turrets at range. It's going to be inevitable until Terps reaches deep into Brock Esports territory, closer and closer to those inhibitors and Nexus.
Yeah, definitely. And right now we're seeing some defense of this tier 2 bot tower, but it just gets shredded instantly by Ziggs.
Yeah, right now it's just a game of cat and mouse. They're pushing and pulling that Ziggs is doing lots of poke from range, keeping those turret minions empowered, and that turret getting lower and lower from that empowered cannon minion. And Yone gets a 1v1 with Yasuo mid, catching them. It's a 5-on-4 now in favor on the side of Terps. Yone is not quite in the fight right now, but they may be looking for more leeway towards mid, catching that tier 3 turret. Maybe they're going to look for more control, trying to catch that inhibitor. It seems like Terps are going for an end angle right now. The Magnastorm comes out from the side of Terps. Moonfall comes out, doesn't do much. Redemption comes out. Fate Sealed misses. Diana's dead from Bread is Very Yummy. Bread is Very Yummy dies to Diana. Ziggs destroys both turrets with ease. it seems like Terps are taking a convincing win against Brock Esports. They said, you may have shown us how game 1, but we know how to come back easy in game 2. It was a swift and convincing victory on the side of Terps.
Yeah, I think that was great to see. Really uplifting based on the first performance of the match. You know, it's great to see like that Yasuo mid lane just kept trying to take fights that, you know, he just couldn't win. And I think that really opened it up. They were basically fighting Brock Esports a 4v5 the entire time. And when you're at a disadvantage like that, you have to play super, super, super smart. And that was just something that, you know, they weren't ready for. The Terps had, you know, game plans around that. Their coordination was so much better than before. You know, we did see those like early overextends, but as the match progressed, we saw that like things were turning up better for the Terps, and they just snowballed that into a quick win.
Yeah, as you said, Ives, it looks so much more coordinated on the side of Terps. They're like so much more comfortable on these champions that Rumble was able to keep even against Cassante. Like, I don't think we talk about enough, but Neko in the mid lane, the first game, Orianna, he kept like a solid lead against Morgana, but Yone in the second match, he's gotten a lot more active. He's gained control of his lane even further. He's kept his CS lead, and you know, he's under-talked because he's so like such a silent carry. But that Ziggs, can we talk about that Ziggs? It's definitely a lot brighter of a like point compared to Jinx in the first game. Ziggs was taking every turret left and right, being able to position, poking from far range. It looked like a brilliant pick, and Rel was just getting so active with those Magnet Storms. It seemed like Viet Mike was going in as soon as that Magnet Storm was back up off cooldown. Like, Terps were so excellent with this unconventional Rek'Sai pick. They look like so much more lively than the first game.
Definitely. I think that's great. And I can't wait to see what they have in store for Map 3 after this quick commercial break.
We'll see you soon.
Whether you're a new publisher or app developer, or if you've been around the block for a little while and you have your own ad ops team, Playwire is developing the solutions and products that are perfect for you.
RAMP stands for Revenue Amplification Management Platform. But really what it does, it helps you make more money per user, and it helps you simplify your business so you can just focus on what matters, which is making great content. So if you think about today's ecosystem, there's so many different pieces to run an ad tech platform.
RAMP brings the entire ad ecosystem under one umbrella. Everything from centralized ad unit creation to piping in those demand sources. We layer on a DMP, and we take care of your data privacy and consent management for you as well. We tie all of that together with robust analytics.
Playwire really offers our publishers two different models at this point. We've got the full service model where we come in and we cover everything. And there's now our new self-service model where you can come in and you can say, I just want Playwire to take care of some of these things for me. Another thing that we've had a lot of partners do with us in the past is say, hey, maybe I have a few of my own direct campaigns that I want to run. Or I've even got an ad ops team. I don't know whether Playwire is right for me because those people are doing a good job. We don't want to displace them in favor of Playwire. That's fine. We're happy to bring all the technology that we've put out there, but use it with your own team and with your own ad stack. What does that mean for you as a publisher? It means that you get to leverage all of the revenue maximization technology that we've got in place and still have all of the capabilities and all of the demand partners that you're used to working with. You can have your cake and you can eat it too.
We actually do things at such scale, right? We're serving 70 billion ads a month at this point. That's a huge benefit that we're passing on to the publisher.
Revenue intelligence marries human intelligence with machine intelligence. At its core, revenue intelligence is about taking all the demand that you're already getting and getting more out of it. We want to make it so that you're getting 10% more from your ad inventory without even worrying about who the advertisers are. It's based on us going in and understanding what are the places where we can put additional price pressure on. There's all sorts of situations like this where you can eke out little benefits and add them all up, you're quickly at a point where you are getting that 10, 15, 20% uplift on your revenue without having made any changes in who's actually doing the advertising.
Our DMP is built from the ground up to work in a cookieless environment and not use cookies to basically store, user behavior or anything like that. And it's built right into the RAMP platform.
We can tell advertisers information about user interests, but also user behavior, do it on a massive scale, do it in that real-time way that we also do with our revenue intelligence capabilities, and also do it in a way where we can leverage the size of our network. We're trying to do everything that we can to show you every step of the process of getting an ad onto the page. That means that we've got much richer charts and graphs, a lot more ability to look at a piece of information and drill down on it, answer that question that maybe you didn't even know that you were asking. We're trying to make you think differently, actually, about your business, about how your business relates to advertising, and reveal all of that through the platform. So analytics are one big piece of it.
It's a constant evolution. We're constantly updating our technology. We're constantly creating the future.
It's a real challenge for publishers these days to navigate advertising technology. It seems like every 6 months there's some new challenge. And at Playwire, we make sure that we take all of that pain away from our publishers so they can focus on their core business of publishing.
Terp Adventures take flight at Stamp. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform, find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Welcome back. And are you ready to jump into this draft?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this third match draft because all of these previously picked champions are going to be out of the pool now. You see that Orianna, that Yone is going to be out for mid lane. You're going to see all these different picks coming out. You see Neferi, Silas, Wukong coming out from Terps. That Neferi is probably going to go into the jungle and Wukong probably in the top lane. Brock Esports opting for a Rakan Kaisa in the bot lane right now and Talia in the mid lane. Maokai can either most likely be in the jungle, but could potentially be played in the top lane. Very unusual though.
Yeah, definitely. I think these bans coming out a little different, a little bit of the same. Like always, we see that Jarvan and that Gragas ban. You know, we're seeing this Kate, Jax, you know, Trundle, Victor, the same on the side of Brock Esports. And right now we're seeing an Aphelios Braum bot pick.
Yeah, Aphelios Braum seems like a unusual pick. Usually you want to pick like an enchanter like Lulu or maybe like a Thresh for Aphelios, but I feel like Terps are opting for that Braum. Like in place of Lucian Braum, they're going to go Aphelios Braum. Braum can like block Maokai, Talia, and you know all the poke damage coming out from the side of Brock Esports. They seem to be opting for a Sion top lane. I wonder how Wukong is going to dictate that matchup. Sion is very tanky, you know, just not being able to lose lane, just keeping up his farm, taking those turrets on side lane. It's almost an unlosable matchup for Sion.
Yeah, you know, I think something you mentioned early in the stream, Los Ratones, you know, Baus, he loves his Scion and he loves his proxy farm. I think if, you know, Brock Esports tries to do something like that, it'll definitely be a challenge to try and deal with. Scion, his ultimate gives him a lot of mobility to just proxy farm and then leave as soon as, you know, at the first sign of danger. And, you know, maybe we'll see, you know, kind of just let him, you know, do whatever he wants top lane while the Terps just kind of secure every other objective bot lane and mid lane, something like that. I think it'll be interesting to see. You know, that Braum is very interesting pick, and I think, you know, maybe trying to block out that Rakan Kaisa poke.
Yeah, and we're about to hop onto the Summoner's Rift soon enough.
Yeah, our wonderful players ready to jump in here. And, you know, what I'm thinking is Sion is kind of a basic pick. I feel at this point it feels, in my opinion, uninspired. I like to see something different, you know. He can just, and you know, another, like his passive, like is whenever he, you know, dies, he just comes back for a brief moment of time to wreak havoc on, you know, the enemy team. I think it's going to be difficult to deal with in team fights, especially when you see him down there. If he gets focused first, he just comes back immediately. So maybe you'll see, you know, trying to play around him. So it's like, you know, do you want to let him farm and get that feed up to be an unstoppable force when you try to ignore him, or are you just going to shut him down so that he's, you know, worthless in team fights?
Yeah, I think the Sion is like, it's basically a paradox. You have to pay attention to him, but if Wukong's always on Sion, you're going to be missing out on that Wukong, you know, knock up crowd control in the fights. You're not going to have that valuable engage utility, but if you leave that Sion alone, he's just going to take all of your turrets on side lane while you're not paying attention. But I just wonder how this like bot lane matchup's gonna work, because it seems like whoever wins bot lane for Brock Esports or Terps, those players dictate the flow of the game. We saw that strong Ziggs showing, being able to really carry, you know, Terps into that like tower destroying, more map controlling, objective, just like dominance. And then in the first game, we saw that Lucian come out. Dominance performance. I think Lucian was like 6-1 going into second or third Drake. And it's just this bot lane matchup, both more like hyper carries, Kaisa and Aphelios. You want to see who's going to be the alpha of the alpha between these two, hyper carries. You want to see who's going to be able to shoulder that weight and carry their team to this third and final victory.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be Sigma, maybe? I think it'll be great to see. Personally, when we were going to this draft, I assumed that we were going to see a Yunara from Terps because we saw Jinx, X, Ziggs, Z, and so obviously to make X, Y, Z, you would go Yunara. That's what I assumed. I thought it would be, some beautiful cohesiveness. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. No one even banned it out. Yunara is incredibly strong right now. She's a very fresh new character, but I guess neither Brock nor Terps were prepared for that. They didn't feel comfortable in that pick.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think either Brock or Terps are comfortable with that Yunara pick. As you said, it's very strong right now. It's very prioritized in pro play, but it seems like Terps and Brock are just trying to play their map control game, play what they're comfortable with, what they know. I see that Neferi's probably going jungle. We saw that in previous matches before from Terps. It's a very pretty Neferi, especially when paired up with Orianna, but that Orianna's out of this game right now. You don't have that combo dive in. So I'm wondering, what is this Neferi gonna do? Is she able to function without that Orianna support? And also, how is Silas with his hijack ability? What ultimates is he going to decide to steal? What's going to be most impactful for his team? Because Sion ultimate doesn't do much. Kaisa ultimate doesn't do much either for him. Is he going to maybe opt for, just spamming his ultimate, just copying to just output as much damage and match control? Because the Silas pick can be very volatile. It's not one of those farming champions that Neko might like to play. It's not like Victor, it's not Orianna or Yone, where you can farm early. You will get poked out very easily in this mid lane matchup.
Definitely, I think important ults to seal is that Maokai jungle ult is very good for control over a team fight. That root is beneficial if you're trying to keep a team separated, if they're trying to retreat and you want some kills to get you that advantage. I think Silas is as good as the brain of the person using it, essentially. And I think Neko is a great player, has shown strong performance these last two matches, and I think if that's anything to go off of, will be great in the hands of him. But I think anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Silas because it's less farm heavy as compared to Orianna and Yone, where they need those items. This Silas needs items, right? But he can output so much damage early on, output so much damage while he's down on items or gold, perhaps. I'm looking forward to that recon ult, perhaps. He just chains in with his E and, use that recon ult to charm everybody on the side of Brock Esports.
Definitely. I think, it'll be great to see, especially with seeing how they deal with that Kaisa scaling early. Early Kaisa isn't as strong as she is in the late game, so maybe that'll work out in the favor of Terps. We saw a great early game for them on the second map, not as great first map. I think it'll make it easier for them to get in there.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to if we're going to see those antsy jitters come out from both Brock Esports and, the Terps, because it seems like in the first match, Brock Esports, very solid, very stable. They were taking pace of the game. They were keeping momentum. Even though they let up gold leads, they were managed to like claw it back and push Terps away. But in the second game, it was the opposite story. Terps were able to, dictate the control of the map, even though they got jittery, right? Both sides were getting very jittery with those sloppy fights, those like overextensions, right? But Terps knew how to maintain control of their lanes. So I wonder if, like, with this third game jitters, are there going to be like veteran experience coming out from Lyrax, being one of those veteran players? Will he be able to stabilize his team, anchor his team to be able to say, hey, we got this. You might have just came up from academy. You might be nervous. It's still your third game, but we got this. It's match 3 of the series, and, they got to go all out as Cassante went last game.
Definitely a great callback, and I think that's really all we need in terms of that. I wouldn't want you to have to use all of your brain power trying to come up with new puns for our new champions, especially just because we can let them speak for themselves soon enough.
Yeah, I definitely want to make a couple more puns. I take joy out of people cringing from my puns. The Scion will have a unstoppable onslaught on those side lane turrets, being able to crush all those turrets, perhaps. And we got to see some killer instinct coming out from Kaisa if she wants to, be able to beat out Lyrax in this bot lane matchup. And, speaking of Lyrax, his support, I'm not going to say Aphelios' ultimate, because Moonlight Vigil, I have no clue how to insert that. But with Braum, Glacial Fissure, hopefully that's the only fissure happening on the side of Terps. Hopefully their hands are stable like a surgeon. No input?
Are we done? Are we good? Are we clear? Not a rhetorical question. It's not a rhetorical question. Don't keep going. It's okay. It's okay. Keep some of that. You know what? Maybe you can think of some of them and then use them later when the game happens. So like when you see it come out, you could say something like that. That would be really cool, right? Like you could just say it then and maybe like not right now.
So you're saying I'm wasting all of my puns right now before all the...
You're wasting everyone's puns. You're maybe wasting everyone's time.
I don't know.
Maybe we could give some more awesome insight. Maybe, our viewers with like some awesome insight. They're like, what do you have to say, Kevin? Kevin, what do you have to say about our awesome comp here? What more do you have to say? You didn't really touch on the Wukong. You didn't touch on the Aphelios. You talked about the other people, but like not them. What do you have to say? And then you're like, well, would you like to listen to my puns now? I have puns for you.
But I love my puns.
Well, maybe the viewers at home don't love them.
Well, perhaps Wukong will cyclone these puns excellently because he's about to scramble them like some eggs.
This is what I have to deal with. Map 3, this is what I have to deal with. It was
Map 3, everybody's going crazy.
The novelty was something for Map 2, and then you said, I want to do it again. But it's like, it's over.
So the sequel is not as good as the first game.
It's actually the sequel bombed.
Okay, well, we're heading into Summoner's Rift now. You don't have to endure any more of my puns.
Yeah.
Let's see if we see that 5-man spread as we've seen in the first 2 games, or are we going to perhaps see some more proactivity before minions come out?
Yeah, we're just seeing, maybe that 5 spread from Brock Esports, and the same from Terps here. Maybe they'll try and invade again. It didn't go as well as it did the first map for the second map of Brock Esports. And it looks like things are just pretty stable. We might see, people start to migrate towards the lanes they're supposed to be in. Braum is here in the topmost part of the bottom jungle. those minions haven't spawned in yet. They haven't gotten to lane. They have a bit more time to get in there, do something. That Silas is slowly like creeping up into those bushes into the top jungle of Brock Esports, but you know, Talia is just there to respond.
Yeah, that Maokai is hiding in the bush. It's good that Neko didn't go toward that Raptors, or he might have been caught out early. Speaking on some more insight on these team comps while it's not too busy on the map, it seems like it's a opposite mirror of the first match, where instead of Brock Esports playing the more mobile comp, Terps are opting for a mobile comp with Nefiri, Wukong, and Silas being heavy engaged champions, being able to move around the map very quickly, while Brock Esports plays that front to back with Sion, Rakan, and Maokai to tank for Talia and Kaisa.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're seeing some early poke coming out. I think basically even for everyone. That Braum is just hiding in bush, looking to see if he can get, you know, a good skill shot out, and nothing really happening. Just getting pushed under tower for Terps.
Yeah, it seems like Aphelios is the one losing this hyper carry matchup early on. We want to see like some more proactivity from the bot lane, but there's only so much you can do when your champion isn't as effective as Kaisa perhaps in the early game. But surprisingly, Wukong is half HP already versus the Sion. You would think Wukong was able to, you know, bruise up Sion more as like a stronger damage champion, but Sion's taking pace of the top lane.
Yeah, I think it's a very, you know, strong start for the top lane on Brock Esports, but right now we're seeing that Silas get some great damage in. Sion seemed to be pathing to the mid lane there to maybe assist, but he was just placing a ward there in the river to keep track of where that Nefiri is.
Yeah, Neko is certainly getting active on the Silas. He misses chains, however, but it's a dominance early game performance from Brock Esports. They seem to have control of this third game right now. Like, we see our academy players, Neko and Bread, they seem a little bit jittery, like I was saying. Maybe they don't have that veteran experience, but we see Nefiri down in the bot lane getting ready for perhaps a dive on Brock Esports, fighting over the Scuttle versus Maokai. Terps are taking control of the bottom lane. The wave isn't big enough for Terps to dive onto Brock Esports, so perhaps Terps just want to keep control and keep Brock Esports under their tower right now, because they know Maokai being spotted on mid vision isn't going to be any threat to them right now.
Yeah, I think that was a great play on the side of Pika. Just, you know, just kind of phased Maokai off of that bot lane push and just, you know, kept it secure as they go into this tower to try and deal some damage to it.
Yeah, and speaking of our like rookies, Bread in the top lane seems to be taking back control of that matchup, not doing too bad. I do have to mention, once we reach level 6 for the mid lane, that's when we see everything, you know, start to become chaotic as that Weaver's Wall comes out for Talia. It's a global movement ultimate that can take her across the map very speedily. So once that comes out, we might see some more ganks. Will we see Silas match the Weaver's Wall by hijacking it? Maybe, maybe not, but we're looking towards a dominance performance from this Aphelios Braum from Terps Esports. Cloud Drake just came back up. Will you know, Pika try and look for this Cloud Drake?
Yeah, you know, they have Scuttle, so maybe they might leave it there for a bit to see what Brock Esports is going to do. Right now they have, we're seeing
a
Wukong
flash
having
come
to
out
flash
from
out.
Wukong. A solo kill from Sion in the top lane. Surprising. He used his ultimate. It's very shocking solo kill in the top lane.
Yeah, and I think it's just gonna, you know, set back Bread a bit on farm, and on that advantage that we thought we were gonna see.
Yeah, Nefiri right now we see on the Cloud Drake alone, it seems like Maokai has no sense or clue because he's paying attention to his Grom, he's paying attention to this bot lane matchup if he needs to peel his bot laners, but this Kaisa is backing to base right now. It seems like they canceled just to catch one more wave. This Nefiri just gets away scot-free with this Cloud Drake. Silas goes in, pushed away from Talia with that W. It looks like Terps is looking for an engage in this bot lane. Finds nothing too strong. It's just poke and prodding. They're feeling each other out right now. I mean, Lyrax is putting on a performance, pushing Brock Esports bot lane into their turret. He's definitely showing his veteran experience right now.
Yeah, I think it was, that solo trait kill was great to see. The vision that Terps had in that tri-bush in the Brock Esports jungle just really gave them the info they needed to be like, okay, this Maokai isn't concerned with getting this objective. They don't know that we're here. We can just take it. And, by pushing Brock Esports into their tower, they were able to take that. And right now we're seeing, a dive on the Maokai here. Gonna try and get under tower. Doesn't have level 5 for the root.
Goes in with Call of the Pack. Nefiri ignores the tower shot with W. I mean, the side of Brock Esports, everybody is low, but Terps have no wave to dive onto Brock Esports. We see Silas hijacking Weaver's wall, perhaps looking for some motion going down bot lane, but they're just trying to recall and trying to escape safely at Brock Esports. I mean, this Nefiri is hovering forever in this bot lane, perhaps just trying to look for some angle, but it seems like they're giving it up. And as grubs start to come up soon, I'm wondering, will Terps look for that lane swap again?
Yeah, and right now we're seeing that Sion start to proxy, just walking past that Wukong, and just like, what are you gonna do about it? I'm just like, I have a kill over you, I'm tanky. And right now we're just seeing some poke come out. Not as successful as I think, Brock Esports wanted. You got that Braum there, but he's just so big and hefty, and it's like, what is a Rakan going to do?
Yeah, I wonder if Terps are just trying to maintain pressure on the bot lane because they believe in their jungler Nefiri Pika able to, solo kill Maokai, but a snipe coming in with Moonlight Vigil from Lyrax getting Rakan. They were playing as safe as possible, play safe, but they were quite literally under tower. No safer place than that.
Yeah, I think it's just, you have to keep track of ult timings. They just got that level 6. It's not something like you really expect, but they didn't play back far enough. I think they stayed around for too long to you're under tower for that long, you might as well just back because you're losing out on farm, you're losing out on experience because you're too far away.
And we see a Voidgrub steal coming out from Pika. Nefiri Weaver's wall comes in from the side of Brock Esports. I feel like it was just a solo steal, a solo play onto that Grubs. I mean, it's a good play being able to take one Grubs, but it seems like there was no communication on the side of Terps about converging onto that Grubs. We saw, this Kaisa Rakan going top lane swapping, like we said, but Terps, they kept the Philios in the bot lane just farming his own waves, not quite doing anything. Braum comes back down here with Silas, trying to engage onto Sion. Sion wastes his unstoppable onslaught, and it seems like he's just going to go down easy. Barrier comes out from Lyrax. The Sion, even though he's just tank, he still does amazing amount of damage. He's still a threat to Lyrax right now. Glacial Fissure comes out from Braum to stop any movement from this Sion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of ults came out there just to keep that Sion from getting the kill onto Lyrax.
Yeah, and on the opposite side of the map, we see no dive, no movement on Wukong because Nefiri's there to cover him. I mean, it's looking like a better map control for the side of Terps. They might not be that ahead on gold, but they seem to be playing their game properly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, there's great management of the wave by Aphelios there. Just keeping track of like what form you have there to eliminate the wave fast enough to get those tower plates. And I think that solo farm is definitely going to allow them to stand their ground against a lot of these champions.
Yeah, we're going to see Chemtech Drake come up in just a second now. We see Lyrax and Via Mike going into the mid lane while Silas takes control of the bot lane. On the side of Brock Esports, they're taking early control over this Chemtech Drake. They're trying to rush it maybe before there's any reaction from Terps. But Terps is right here. TP comes in from Wukong. It seems like nobody knows. Knockup comes out from Wukong.
Blue team stealing the Drake. As this fight is going on, we saw that stolen Silas ult come out. We're going to see, Brock Esports members go down here. This Scion.
Shuts down Aphelios. And it's looking...
It's just a great performance. They got the Drake. They got 2 kills for their 1. And they're just poking this Kai'Sa, poking this Rakan, the Scion. That's just all they have left. And they're all mid right now, which means, Silas gets to path bot. Aphelios can do what he wants. He can go help mid. He can go top. But right now they're just trying to get that first turret possibly to get those feats.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very messy fight with Silas somehow stealing the Drake. I mean, it's 2 Drakes to none on the side of Terps. They're definitely taking these objectives more seriously compared to Game 1. And it seems like they've got an idea of what they need to do, keeping pressure on these lanes, not letting, Brock Esports be able to move. White-green gun coming out for Aphelios, that's one of his strongest combinations. It seems like Brock Esports are hesitant, even though they're a 3-on-1 in this mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Redemption coming out from the side of Via Mike to cancel those recalls. A little bit troll maybe, but definitely keeps them right where they want them to be. However, we see Italia. It's a 5-man on mid right now on the side of Brock Esports. They're going to force some kind of control. It seems like Via Mike is just going to be the martyr on the side of Terps, being caught out by a 5-man dive in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, the redemption was kind of trolling. It came back to, came back at him with that 5-man push on him. I think, something I wanted to talk about was, this jungle on the side of Brock Esports hasn't been doing as much as you might expect. In that Drake fight, he just stayed on Drake for way too long. He's solo ulting here on Neko, but he's going to destroy the turret, maybe possibly get this kill here on the Maokai, gets the kill, but right now...
Kills Maokai by stealing the killer instinct from Kai'Sa, but shut down for Kai'Sa on Silas. I mean, it was... I feel like this Maokai champion on the side of Brock Esports doesn't look very comfortable. It's like very odd compared to his first 2 games. I mean, the Silas is looking solid, being able to get out with a 1-for-1 trade in that 3 versus 1 matchup in bot lane. It's looking like map control is slowly swaying towards the side of Terp Esports, being able to take first turret on the bot side. It looks like they're running the map, even though they're not too far ahead. They have control of so much vision, so much space, but right now it seems like they're overstanding into this area of Brock Esports. Rakan W going up, Nefiri going in, Glacial Fissure coming out, Redemption coming out on the side of Terps. I mean, it's just a straight up brawl right now. Nobody quite going down. Everybody gathered in the mid lane for Brock Esports, while Wukong for Terps is just pushing that bot lane wave.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a few backs here because, Terps got enough of Brock Esports players low enough where we would warn that if they re-engage into that fight, they're going to be, soloed out first, taken out. And it's just what you have to do, and it just gives the Terps even more map control here.
Yeah, right now you see the total gold is not too far off. It's about 1 point something K. They're going to start fighting over Herald, but you gotta see where the gold is distributed. The gold on the side of Brock Esports is mainly on their tanks. Their tanks are not going to be able to make much of an impact damage-wise in these fights. They might feel more uncomfortable going into these fights because they don't have that damage. It seems like Terps want to take the first initiative going into Brock Esports, but they're getting chunked down very low. Unstoppable Onslaught coming out from Sion. Brahms going very low. Killer Instinct coming out from the side of Brock Esports. Kaisa goes down easily. Sion kills Aphelios. Sion's very low. Redemption comes out. Brahm is on 1 HP, still trying to keep in the fight. It's up to Pika and Silas right now. I mean, it's just all Nefiri. It's a whole Nefiri show. I mean, got 2 lost in the sauce, but Silas going in with a chain hook. It's looking chaotic.
And Smite on the Braum for a double kill. And right now we're seeing Silas kind of clean up here. Rakan on 1 HP. If he gets this kill, it's an ace. But he's going to get away.
Yeah, it's just it was a very messy brawl. It was a bad engage on the side of Terps, running into that Talia's W and like E combo, just preventing any dashes and any like CC coming their way. But on the side of Brock Esports, they just don't have the damage to be able to take those squishy carries out. Even though Sion was able to kill Aphelios, I mean, that Nefiri and Silas was alive for so long, being able to do so much damage when technically they should be the first ones targeted and the first ones to be dead.
Definitely. And I mean, in that fight there you saw, well, we're seeing another fight here, you know,
Nefiri go in with Call of the Pack and trying to get on Kaisa. Kaisa gonna bleed out. Both ADCs are down now.
Yeah, we're seeing Maokai come up from the bottom in the river here. Rakan's trying to chase down this Nefiri, but it looks like she's going to get away as Braum comes in to CC, slow him down.
Yeah, talking about those jitters, it seems like both sides don't have the jitters, but they're just antsy. They're very proactive. They're very confident in this third game. They're forcing a lot of stuff on the soul point for Terps. It seems like they're trying to engage something before both ADCs are back. Silas hijacks the quickness from Rakan. That's going to be a crucial ult to engage with in this team fight. I mean, positioning wise, it looks like Terps have control of the river, but it's going to be pretty easy for Brock Esports to hold control with Nature's Grass coming out from Maokai. You know, Glacial Fissure comes out. Kaisa gets a kill on Braum. Kaisa just doing work from the backline, but Silas catching up. Silas going low, dying to Kaisa, shut down. Sion still up. Talia still up, but this Nefiri is running wild along with Aphelios unchecked in the backline. Aphelios is full HP. He can carry this fight versus Brock Esports. Like, they just don't have enough damage. This fight, they focus, instead of Aphelios, they focus Nefiri and Silas, right? Silas was caught out by Kaisa for a trade, but Aphelios had 0 damage put on him. He was unchecked that whole fight, able to just pump out so much damage with his green-red combo. It was just some excellent kiting from the side of Terps Esport and Lyrax.
Definitely, and I think it's, you know, incredible, like, Aphelios had no damage on him, and that Braum was the first to die in that fight to that Kaisa. And I think we see right now Braum going back in, you know, taking a little bit of damage, but quickly getting out. I think it would have been unfortunate for, you know, this re-engage on the Drake fight for him to die so early again. And I think everyone's just setting up to repair. They're trying to get this dragon for Terps Esports. Braum hiding in the bush, getting that poke onto Rakan. And that's just going to be a clean dragon.
Yeah,
they're pushing to the jungle for this engage, stop the blue buff from being hacked.
Cyclone coming out from Wukong. It's just looking chaotic. Nefiri kills Talia. TP coming in from Sion down to the bot lane. Nature's Grass from the hijack is coming in. Nature Grass coming out from Maokai. They're trying to re-instigate this fight. I mean, Redemption coming out, Glacial Fissure also coming out. It seems like Terps are able to incentivize Brock Esports from re-engaging. It was such a tough fight for Brock Esports to go back into and contest that Drake because they had 0 ultimates up besides that Weaver's Wall, while Silas hijacked the Maokai ult from the side of Brock Esports. It was just a very clean control of resources from the side of Terps.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we just saw there was, our Braum getting away there just before that bush got checked on him, which is, a great reset. You don't want to give up anything right now. This game is still, close. Like, the Terps have 3 dragons, but in terms of kills, and gold, it's close enough where mistakes can they have consequences.
Yeah, it's only a 2k gold lead in the side of the Terps. They're gonna go for this Herald, starting it off the bat with Maokai backing into base. I don't think it's going to be any contest from Brock Esports. Rakan getting his ultimate stolen by Silas. I think it's just a free Herald for the side of Terps.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we're running into the similar problem as we get into this team fight. As Braum taking a lot of damage, we're seeing Nefiri jump in there, get that kill on Talia. We're seeing that Glacial Fissure come out on Braum, just jumping the Maokai, trying to get away.
It was a rush engage on the side of Terps, but they made it work. They were able to catch that Talia with Nefiri's Call of the Pack, and it's looking like a dominant showing as Terps is trying to pull away with this game right now, taking mid tower tier 2. Otacon is up on the map, but it seems like the focus of Terp Esports is escorting Shelly onto another hit on the mid tier 3.
Yeah, we're just going to see a backup. We're pathing bot, possibly going for Otacon, but I think Brock is following behind, and they know that with the vision that they have. And, speaking of vision, I think it's a huge problem. We're seeing a re-engage here.
Nefiri goes in, kills Rakan. Sion also caught by Cyclone, stunned, killed by Aphelios. Another kill by Aphelios on Maokai. Mish Slash from Talia. They're just running away now. The bleed is going to kill Kaisa, and holy moly, this Nefiri, I should have never doubted it. That Nefiri is doing God's work alone. She don't need no robot in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're just going to see a replay here as, just a massive 5-man in on characters one after another. This Sion just gets stunned. Nefiri is going to get that hit over the wall to re-engage and finish off those 2 low health enemies. And because everyone's on respawn timers, they get this Otacon for free. And I think a really big issue that we're seeing right now that we saw in the first game is vision. Brock Esports doesn't have any map awareness. They don't know who's where. They don't know who's in their jungle. It's impossible for them to go in like they did, and then they failed because they have no vision. They just didn't know that people were there. And they have no towers taken. Then that's free vision for Terps. Their jungle is littered with wards for Terps Esports. It's going to be difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, as Baron Nashor has just spawned, I think Brock Esports are playing into the hand of Terps. Terps is starting Baron off bat. They need to be able to fight this team fight oriented game, but right now they're just losing due to the solo capabilities of Terps champions. They're gonna turn on to Brock Esports right now. Cyclone going in for Rakan. Glacial Fissure coming out. Rakan caught by Nefiri. Nitrous Grass comes out, catches nobody right now. Red is Yummy takes care of Kaisa, but Maokai takes care of Wukong. Lyrax just dominates over Talia. We're just seeing the solo capabilities of Terps Esports, like their champions are very good in being able to 1v1. The Scion left alone, this Maokai left alone, this Rakan left alone, they aren't going to do anything by themselves. They're not going to be able to output enough damage. They're reliant on their carries to do stuff, but they're not holding proper formation. They're just collapsing under the pressure of Terps' high damage. This Nefiri and the Silas, even though it wasn't in the fight, they're able to output so much damage and pressure by copying ults, by just jumping into the backline, that Brock seems so disorganized with how they want to play this game right now.
Definitely, I think they're struggling to find their way back into the game, and they're just kind of like trying to go in on everything. Like, it just wasn't a smart move to go in on Baron there when you're so far behind, and just to get caught out like that, to be so disorganized.
Right now we see a fight towards red buff, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be too actionful until Terps go and start Baron.
Yeah, we're just seeing this Maokai try to throw out some minions just to get some info, but the Terps are going to be starting Baron, and that Scion is, just a short distance away, but that Talia is just on an island.
Bot lane for some reason, just giving this Baron for free. It seems like Talia is just lost in this, disorganized, not communicating. Nature Grass comes out from the side of Terps and Brock Esports. I mean, it just looks like Terps Esports are just going to ARAM at mid and take care of these turrets. Same story as Game 2. They're going to use this Baron buff to prioritize map control. While they might not have top lane and bot lane push, I feel like this mid lane is strong enough. They're able to take these turrets. They're able to win this team fight very easily. The quickness coming out from Rakan. Redemption comes out. Iclone comes out from Wukong. It's looking in favor to, Terps right now. Lyrax is really pushing deep. He's solo in, but he's so strong right now. Triple kill for Lyrax.
Yeah, the Scion is just buying time, trying to clear the wave, but it's not enough. They're going to re-engage on that tower. Maokai comes out, doesn't do anything, can't finish off the Nefiri. He's going to go down. It's an open Nexus with just Rakan alive, and that's going to be the game for Terps Esports.
Yeah, another dominating performance as they reverse sweep Brock Esports. It's a 3-match series, but it was such an excellent showing at the end there from, Terps.
Yeah, I think it was a great comeback. I think we were all disappointed by that first match, and then they just came back and showed a dominant early game. And then Brock Esports, when they lose that early game, just became so disorganized with trying to get back in the game that throwing themselves at everything just made their situation worse for them.
Yeah, Brock Esports, they look so strong and so dominant. I thought they were just going to run away with a 2-0 game, a 2-0 series today, but Terps, they really stabilized in Game 2. They were really able to show out Game 3. They had control of everything. Eve, it's like that Silas was such masterful work. I was questioning it because it's not the usual farm champion Neko plays, but the hijacks were perfect. He was prioritizing those teamfight ultimates, the Nature's Grass, and the quickness from Rakan. I mean, it's just excellent gameplay from the side of Terps.
Yeah, I think it was great. I know I enjoyed it. I hope everyone at home enjoyed it. Right now, before we end, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Recwell, the School of Journalism here, and Playwire. And we hope you all have a good night.
Hope to see you next week in the next stream where the LoL Academy team will be playing for Terps.
Have a good night, everyone.